Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're having an amazing day. Happy Saturday for you all. Marius, good to see you. Joel, MoonAndroid, of course. Captain, CWP, Kenny, British Texan, good to see you on the Go Crypto. Taxman, Ted, Tom, Ras6, haven't seen you in a bit. Welcome back. And Fakes, EverGrow Nando, good to see you too. What else we got here? Jack Oates, and we got Ivan, as well as Tam Varg. I don't think I've seen you here before, Tam. And Joshua, apologize if I pronounce your last name, Jens Brook. My apologies if I do. AAP, good to see you too. So, Denny, how you doing, man? Hope you guys are having a great weekend so far. We'll hopefully see Colin in here very, very shortly, and then we'll get on rolling. It has been a week with lots going on, and I'm just going to get myself just situated here real quick. CWP, I don't know if I gave you the mic there. I don't know if you're able to talk, but you're more than welcome to. And I see Jordovic is here as well, and Scott Sturgis. Who else we got here? Sazax, and the real Captain Futurist, CWP man. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'll be doing a lot better when I actually have a bathroom to use, as I think you're
No
aware of.
kidding. Yeah, CWP sent me a picture of some really creative plumbing work in your bathroom, and I was like, I have never seen that before, man.
That's an understatement, creative.
Yeah, that's when you can't make when you don't have a 90, you make one. Only you don't do it with like tools or anything like that. You just do it with brute force. Oh man.
And wonder why it leaks.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So what else is new with you, man?
I am right now taking a class online. I'm not going to pay for it for credit, but it's really fascinating on AI and what AI and just a whole thing about what AI really is, its future, how to do it, how to understand it, um, and this whole brain is being challenged, and I love it.
Yeah, it's such a rapidly growing industry. I mean, even just a couple years, ago, like AI was kind of really fringe stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we really could see where it was going as quickly as it's going.
If anybody is interested in this, it's a Google-related class on learning.edx.org, and it's free, or you can pay money to get credit for it.
I appreciate that. Thanks for saying that. Appreciate it. Yeah, I've heard of some. I've heard of some Google classes that are very low cost or free. I actually did a bunch of classes with what was it called now? It was, I can't remember the name of it, but I needed to brush up on my math, and it was a free. It was called, what was it? Something University. Can't remember the name. I'll try and look it up.
Udemy?
No, it was Khan Academy. Have you heard of that one?
No.
KHAN, and he actually got a big grant from the Microsoft Foundation for all his work. He started. It was a really interesting story. I won't go too deep into it, but he started on YouTube teaching his a relative of his some math, right? And so because they were having a hard time and all that stuff, so he would do these YouTube videos for them, right? And so they would watch them and try to wrap their head around these math concepts, right? And he found out that other people were watching them, and people liked him so much, he started doing more and more and more. And the next thing you know, of course, this is all for free. The next thing you know, just blew up. And so he has like these, you can learn anything from there. Like from chemistry to mathematics, all different kinds of things.
I
All
just
free.
pulled it up and it is interesting. There's 6 areas that they're covering, which are pretty broad: math, science, computing,
Yep.
economics, arts and humanities, and test prep for the SAT and other tests. Amazing.
Exactly. Yeah. And I needed it because I was trying to apply to get into an apprenticeship. and it's super competitive. So I needed to score as high as possible. And with the help of that, I scored into like 92 or 93 or something like that. And that gave me the edge because they only hired like, I think 400 people applied. And I was one of like 25 people that actually got in. So I was just, you just got to just buckle down and just do it, right? So yeah, a couple comments that I've seen in here. Please address the CoinGecko first. It's driving me nuts. I know what you mean, EverGrow. It's really irritating. And you know, the thing is, you go into other cryptos and they work just totally fine. It's EverGrow and Lucro. I don't know. I tried doing a couple, obviously the big ones work. I did like Doge and even like SquidGrow. SquidGrow works fine. But for whatever reason, EverGrow and Lucro they don't show the right price. They don't show the chart. They don't show price action, like gain or loss or whatever like that. No volume either. Like just, it's really irritating. And I don't know why that is. I'm sure if we were to talk to the team, they're probably already on it. I know Paul's big on that. So hopefully maybe they'll stop in and give us an update on that. That would be nice anyway.
I should add, if I may, Steve, that
Sure.
because I trashed CoinGecko online on Twitter and actually questioned their ethics as to whether they were being bribed. And then I find out, as I'm looking at my watch list and portfolio list on CoinGecko, that our two are not the only ones. There
How
are some
many?
others.
Okay.
Um, I didn't actually go through and total them up, but I think I saw probably close to a dozen that are
Wow.
so the same exact thing.
I wonder
No
if they're
data,
non-paying
even though they
customers.
show a price and
I wonder if they're non-paying and they're so they're yeah, this is I maybe it's nothing to do with that. I have no idea, but I think they do charge if you want to have a premium listing. I believe they do charge.
and it's really sad to me because CoinGecko has been the best aggregator of prices,
I
where
agree.
so you get a good general sense of the price rather than getting the inflated prices that you get from some of the other quotes.
Right. Is CoinGecko owned by CoinMarketCap? Do you know?
No, I don't know.
Yeah,
Interesting.
okay. I didn't know. There's only a few big players in these kind of spaces, so I didn't know if CoinGecko was independent or if they were owned by them or not. MoonAndroid, how you doing, man?
Hey guys, I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, how's things going with you?
I'm all right.
Yeah.
Been a busy week or a couple weeks because I'm getting ready for, prepping everything for the LunaSky launch and the new NFTs I'm making, the crypto mechas. Man, there's just so much work. My God, every time I
Yeah.
go back to it, I'm just like, wow, what did I get myself into?
Especially with that hard drive issue you had, didn't help matters, did it?
Oh yeah, that was that was just a screw you on top. Just to I'm over it. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh man, Prasan, how you doing?
Good, I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm very well. Yeah, we're just waiting for Colin to get loaded up here, and then we can go ahead and it's been a few months since we've interviewed him, and I'd like to get an update on his business and how things are going. Did you have any questions in the meantime, or anything like that?
Yeah, I have one.
What's that? Go ahead.
Yeah, the question is, I know that if you want to try to figure out the market cap, you multiply the current price by the current circulating supply. But two things, I can't find the circulating supply of Lucro. That's question number one. And question number two, if you want to say like, okay, what would be the price if the market cap would be like 10 billion? How do you do the math? Because
I've always done it's very simple. Like it's total circulating supply times price is equal to your market cap. Cody, I brought you up here, and hope you're having a good day. And you're more than welcome to answer that question if you like.
Hey, Steve, can you hear
Hi,
me?
Cody. Yeah, how you doing today, man? Thanks for being here. Hopefully you can hear us okay.
Yeah, doing good. Thank you so much. How are you doing?
Good. There might be a bit of a delay, so my apologies.
Yeah, I may need to leave and come right back. I can hear myself just slightly. No worries. I didn't catch his question. Actually, I was connecting. So
It was a question related to market cap. Rasan, if you want, go ahead and ask it a question.
Yes, I learned how to get to find out the market cap. But if you want to say, let's say it's 10 billion, how do you find that? What's the math? Not the actual market cap, because then you just multiply the current price by the current circulating supply. But if you say, okay, let me imagine it's 10 billion, then at that point there's no that's not the real price. So how do you find it? If you want to, like, make believe that it's 10 billion.
yeah, I think I understand. Are you trying to just calculate market cap based off a particular number? Is that what you mean?
Yes, based on 10 billion. How do you do that math then, please?
Well, as far as I know it, you're just multiplying the total number of coins in circulation by the current market price of each individual coin.
Exactly. So in our case, we have 100 for Lucro. 100 billion is a circulating supply. If you multiply that by whatever the price is today, 4075, I think it is, something like that, you will get a market cap roughly 7.5 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, exactly. It would give you that. But if you want to say it's 10 billion, not the actual, something that you're dreaming.
Oh, yeah.
At that point, what would be the price of any? By the way, if I'm wrong, correct me, please. 100 billion is the total supply of Lucro, not the current. I can't find the current circulating supply.
So obviously the project is sitting on some tokens, so not all of the circulating supply is in circulation, but they are held in wallets, right? Whether they be your wallet or mine or the team's. So this is a really easy number. So 100 billion, if it was at $1, it would be worth 100 billion market cap. If it was 10 billion, then you just basically add a zero, right? So now it's 10 cents. So your dream bag, if let's say you had, let's say, I don't know, say you had 100 million Lucro, right? At 10 cents, that should get you, what is that? But is that 10 million bucks? Am I doing the math wrong? I think I'm doing the math. Yeah, I think that's right. 10 million bucks. So if you had 100 million.
I think he means, like, if market cap was to be, as his example, 10 billion, then there's no way the price would be what it is now. So what would be that price? I think that's his question, but I don't think there's a way to answer that.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I meant.
Right.
10 billion would be at 10 cents.
Yes.
Exactly. But I made it up through math unnecessarily, not straight to the point. And that's what I wanted to
then you just, I just kind of do it in my head, just because I know if it's $1, it's 100 billion, it's 100 billion market cap. And, if it was 1 penny, then that's a $1 billion market cap, right? And we know EverGrow went to 1.5-ish, I believe, market cap billion. So technically 1.5 cents. If Lucro did the same thing, that's, and you had X number. Yeah. Hope that helps a little bit.
Big giant numbers.
Yes, exactly. It's a lot of work to get to those numbers, but as long as you have the utility behind it, that's what basically determines. Well, it's not always that way, right? We have meme tokens that mean absolutely nothing. They've said that they don't have any utility at all, and yet they do remarkable things in the market. The market is fickle, so yeah, just goes to show you.
I mean, Lucro has been going up, right, recently.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I went ahead and gave Colin an invite to co-host. Hopefully he'll get that in a second. And while we're waiting there, Cody, how is your week going?
Oh, Steve, my friend, my week is going good. Just really busy, professionally and personally. But yeah, going really, really good, my friend. How about yours?
Very, very well. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, my wife's out of town today. Well, she'll be back next week. And yeah, so she's visiting some family and friends, and so having a good time. She's actually not too far from you, actually. So yeah, it's kind of weird being in the house by yourself. Well, I mean, I got the dogs and all that stuff, and and our son and stuff like that. But it's just weird not having her around.
It is all those years, like living on my own, and then you get a family one day, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, cool, now I live with people, and you adapt to that, and
Mm-hmm.
then there's a moment where maybe you're there by yourself, they go out of town, you're like, wait, I remember this. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So let's see here. I gave him. It's weird. Colin, if you're on just so you know, if you're on desktop, I heard that Spaces may work now, but where the best case is mobile. Mobile always works best with Spaces. I see you requested, but I've given you the. I'm going to go ahead and cancel the co-host invite, and I'm going to try and bring you up again. Give me 1 second. I'll try that.
Wow, so they implemented Spaces now for desktop?
Yeah, I saw that it actually works too. It's kind of interesting.
Oh my goodness, I'll have to try it out. Yeah, cool.
Exactly.
It's so funny because what you would expect to be the easiest way to implement that, which would be on desktops, took so long.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of weird. And I don't know why it took so long.
I'll tell you, more than ever do I not judge development.
Yeah,
more than ever. I'm like, wait, yeah, I don't know why it took so long.
You have a better understanding now, more than ever, right?
Yeah, I'm just like, oh man, it's so funny because Moon, what you just said, I think on one side of the coin, and then on the other side of the coin, I'm like, I'm scared to even think it. I'm like, oh.
You can judge them, Cody. You can judge them. You don't have the billions they have. You don't have the manpower they have. So,
that's true. That's true. And the decades and decades behind them. Yeah. So let's judge him. Judge him.
Yeah, it's funny, huh? Interesting. Looks like Colin's having a little bit of issue trying to connect here. I'm going to try one more time, see if we can bring him up. Christopher Eigner, how are you doing? I haven't spoken to you in a while.
Hello. At first, job search. Still searching.
Job search?
Very unlucky. Also from interview to interview going, but not taken. Yep, this I can save 3 months now unemployed from the moment where I got dismissed with the untrue allegations in the disciplinary hearing. Yes. Reason why I'm now speaking is two things. At first, I want to mention this burn from this week from the EverGrow is not mentioned with a burn from last month in the burn wallet at bscscan.com. Somebody must have a look on it. Yes, also let's say there was the burn on Safe Moon Dave is shown, however not BSC scan that somebody is looking. Yes, the 215 billion EGC are not shown there. Yes, that they are burned. That somebody could please take a look on it. And the second thing is to Cody. Cody, do you think we release in the next 2 weeks? Thank you.
Hey, Christopher, guten Tag, friend. Always good to hear from you.
Hello, Cody.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah. So, great question. I can't answer that. I won't answer that. I will just say, great question. I don't want to dive straight into talking about Luna yet. Whenever Steve is ready for that, we can. But I will say, things are going great. We're putting in the hours as we always have. We are right there at the cusp as we have been, but now we're on that very final list of items. The list isn't very large. It may look large to somebody that's not familiar with how the list works and how the workflow of it is, but it's not. It's going good. Yeah, final items getting chipped away right now. So very close.
The reason why I'm saying this is the following, because look, when the cost, or let's say the price for Lucro is going up, yes, and so people get interested, they expect something. We should rush in this moment, honestly, because they really want to see something. This is no trust for the coin.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That makes sense. And you're right about that. I think, it goes up. The more people want to see something come out. But we're not going to rush it. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, we're closer than we've ever been, right? I know that sounds kind of funny, but it's true. So yeah, almost there.
Thank you, Cody. See you.
Thank you, Christopher. Bye.
I don't know if I was trying to communicate with Colin real quick just to figure out what the issue was going on. Did you answer the question regarding the 250 billion, 240 billion?
Oh yeah. Christopher, I saw you talking about that earlier in the Discord.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
not
yes.
sure. I'd have to look into it. Yeah, we'll look
But
Cody,
into it
talk
though.
about it, not shown.
Cody,
Yeah.
the,
Hey, Mike.
there's no way you can catch that transaction. It's an internal one from the contract, so there's no way to see it on BSC scan.
Yeah.
The only way you can see, let's say, the burn, you just go to, let's say, holders on BSC scan. Top one is the dead wallet, and you will see the quantity of tokens that the dead wallet is holding. That's actually how the SafeMoon Dave, like the table is being updated. It's it's keeping history of the total tokens burned, but as a transaction, you won't catch it. It's a tricky one. It's internally through the contract. Yeah, if I send right now tokens to the dead address and actually burn them, you will see that. But if the contract is doing it, you will not.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they have to be taxed and stuff like that and everything. I don't know what kind of magic they did with the contract, but I tried and I never found a buyback transaction being done. It's I'm not that deep into it. I don't know the mechanics behind it, but I never caught it.
Yeah, I figured one of you guys, if it was,
you
ahead,
can see the amount of BNB being added to the liquidity pool, which is a legit burn.
Can you guys hear me now?
Thanks. Yeah, I can hear you there. How you doing, Colin?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Very, very well. Thanks for being here today.
No worries. No, I didn't mean to cut you guys off, so you can finish what you were saying.
No, no problem at all. You bet. Thank you for being here today. Really, really appreciate it. It's been a minute, so thank you so much. I appreciate it.
It has.
So we'll get rolling in here into this space. So what do we call this now? Is it now the X space? Now that we're in X space. But X space.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Good point. I would like to say really quick, Steve, if I may.
Sure.
Congratulations, man. 50 spaces, y'all. Let's give him some applause. Big applause out there. Yeah, man, this is your 50th spaces, and that is a hell of an accomplishment. And we all, from staff to community, can't thank you enough, my friend. So thank you so much for all the time, the effort, organizing, putting these together. We all know it's a lot of work. Yeah, man, we thank you so much. It's your 50th space. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Great
really
job.
Appreciate it, Cody. Yeah, I hope it helps a little bit, and it just keeps, like I said before, I like doing these spaces because, we bring everybody together, and when people have questions or concerns, we can all address them right here, right? And we give this kind of focal point of everybody to come together, and we have common shared values, which is EGC, and so we might as well just do it, right? And I can't believe, honestly, I'm surprised, like 50, it just seems so hard even for me to really grasp right now. It seems like we just started. It just kind of feels weird. It just feels like I just started doing this.
Yeah, 2 weeks you'll have been doing this for a year straight. Everybody, he does this every single weekend, 50 weeks in a row. We talked about last week the work and the effort it takes behind the scenes for Steve to put these together, because not a lot of people are aware of that. He doesn't come in and improv these spaces. Sure, there's some improv moments and some off the cuff moments, as there should be. But he's very organized when he comes to these, and that takes a lot of prep, and a lot of work. So, man, 50 spaces. I'm just proud to be here every week. I'm sure everyone else is, and we are more than proud to have you as the official EverGrow Spaces guy. So there we go.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I want to give you props to your YouTube videos too, because I know those are a heck of a lot of work for you.
Great call out. Yeah, everybody go and subscribe to Steve's YouTube channel. He puts all of these up there with additional info too.
You bet. Last week was a little, for some reason, my software was not cooperating with me at all. I was trying to put up kind of like informationals, visuals, and I don't know what was going on. I think I don't know if we were in Mercury retrograde or what was going on, but yeah, it wasn't working out. So I was a little thin, but I'm going to try harder for the 50th for you all. So Yeah, welcome everybody to space number 50. What an incredible journey. I mean, it really been is just being with you here every single week. You guys are so incredibly supportive, and I just want to thank you for all the contributions that you do for EverGrow. Right now, we got Michael Preble in here. He's actually time stamping these for you guys on YouTube, so that if you wanted to go and find certain spots within the videos, you will, with his with his help, be able to find them. So it's little things like that that just make a huge difference. And so thank you for doing that. Really appreciate it. It's Denny's giveaways. It's Hyperbeam and Drake over in Discord. It's Noah on Telegram. It's Cody working with the devs. It's Marius and all the people that come together that make EverGrow such an amazing space. And so I want to thank you guys, because without you guys, I wouldn't be here. So thank you. So normally we got kind of go into talk about news and scams and all that stuff. We get to that a little later, but first we want to, of course, welcome our guests that we haven't had in a very, very long time. Please, everyone, welcome CEO of Abstract VR Objective Reality Games, Colin Rose. Colin, thank you so much for being here today.
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, when you guys mentioned a few weeks back having me on, I thought it'd be a great way to catch up with everybody. It's been hectic over here. It's been wild, so it's been tough to keep up on updating everybody on where we're at and what we're doing. So this is a great way for me to touch base and let you guys know what we're up to.
You bet. You're welcome. You're welcome here anytime, and would more than happy to jump on your spaces too when you have them. So yeah, 2023 has been a pretty busy year for you. So I'm wondering, kind of personally, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Like you said, it's been a really just wild year for us. Very, very busy. So my mental health has been priority number one. I have to make sure I'm not overexerting myself and taking on too much, which unfortunately is where a lot of our customer facing marketing is taking a hit, because a lot of what we're doing isn't really that focused on the consumer customer right now. So a lot of behind the scenes work, partnerships, and things going on that have been really, really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. I did a little bit of catching up on the. I'm sorry, get a bit of. I'm going to mute you here for a second. Sorry, getting a bit of a background from my mic. So I did a little bit of catching up on kind of what you've been up to. So I know you have ongoing partnerships with 3 universities, partnerships with AWS and NVIDIA. And I think in April, Objective Reality Games was profiled on Spectrum One News in Columbus, Ohio. Then I saw on June 1st, you did a first commercial partnership with for Karate Do, The Way of the Empty Hand. And then in July 10th, I think you started a 30-day virtual game design camp. So it's just like a lot going on over there. So congratulations on all of that work. That must be, I don't know how you do it, honestly. But,
thanks. Yeah, hearing that out loud, it does sound a little much. But no, it's the game design camp was really fun. We partnered with Ohio University and taught some kids how to make video games, and that was a really cool experience. We had one on location event where we went up to the university and actually taught in person, and then the other 2 camps that we did were a more informal virtual camp where it was 3 days a week, couple hours a day, and we were just kind of going through how to set up a project in Unity. We didn't do any VR development. It was all 2D platformer kind of development, but the kids had a great time. And I think if you go to objectiverealitygames.com, you can actually play the game that the kids made over the summer camp. It's really, really fun. But yeah, we've got those partnerships with universities are really important to us, because we are working toward a lot of research and development grant funding, and having a university partnership is pretty key to attracting that funding at a federal level anyway. So being that a lot of our technology is in cloud computing, and with artificial intelligence really starting to ramp up now, the platform has a unique position in that we can we can deliver those cloud computing resources necessary to do those artificial intelligence algorithms and whatnot on a standalone device, which is proving to be a really key role that I think the abstract is going to play moving forward. But yeah, it's been a whirlwind this year for sure.
But back when I heard about abstract VR at the very beginning, obviously, focused on VR gaming and all that stuff. Could you maybe describe how your business has changed over the last, 6 months to a year or so in terms of the business model for objective reality and abstract VR?
Sure, yeah. So I think that's something that I've not caught a lot of you guys up on. And again, apologies. It's just been a crazy busy time. But essentially what's happened is that toward the end of 2022, we went live with our consumer gaming application. And for those that don't haven't been following along with that, it was on this secondary marketplace called SideQuest VR. So you couldn't download the application directly from the MetaQuest store, which meant that a lot of our casual gaming potential customers were not able to access the game streaming platform because it requires a little bit of technical knowledge to put your headset into developer mode and do a few setting changes before you're able to download these secondary marketplace apps. So it was a struggle for us to try to build that customer base, and without getting too in the weeds as to what's going on with that, I can say that we've had some intentional roadblocks put in our way to get into this native headset marketplace. Essentially, we're pretty confident that Meta wants to control access to cloud streaming within their marketplace, just in a nutshell. So, we've kind of had to rethink what that means for the abstract, and I'm happy to say and excited to announce that we've found a workaround for that. I can't get into a lot of the details as to what that means right now. Unfortunately, we have a very high-profile partnership that I'm going to be announcing here pretty soon that's going to have a workaround for us that's really exciting on the consumer front. So that has not been abandoned by any means. It just had to go on the back burner while we figured out our workaround to get into the casual gaming consumers headset. But during that process, we reevaluated what our priorities were at immediately, and we found that the industrial and military customer was where we were really seeing the most immediate need and benefit. So we kind of shifted gears. And if you go to our LinkedIn page, or if you go to objectiverealityvr.com right now, you're going to see that a lot of the messaging has changed to that military industrial customer, because clearly the abstract has a lot of utility for being able to deliver these massive training environments in the cloud, streamed to the standalone headset, so that at the base or at the factory, they just need a headset and then an internet connection, and they can connect to these experiences in the cloud. They don't have to have the infrastructure, they don't have to have the staff on location to manage the servers and whatnot. So there's a lot of value there, and so we've put a lot of our energy into facilitating those partnerships and growing those partnerships. Over the summer, we were approved for funding by the Air Force, which was really exciting, for research and development into growing our platform within their secured cloud. However, unfortunately, by the time it got to where they were going to be divvying out the funds for R&D funding, we didn't make the cut. So we were approved but not funded. So that was kind of disheartening. But the good news there is that they've done their due diligence. They approved. They said our technology is sound. They like what we're doing, and we are able to reapply at the next round of funding to start to build that secure cloud VR system for the military. So so that, just kind of a sidebar there as to the military application. But something you alluded to there earlier is our current big project, which we're really excited about, is our Way of the Empty Hand partnership. And due to some potential for copycat applications and things going on, I can't get into a lot of the details as to what is going to make that really exceptional, but I can say that it takes full use of our cloud resources, and it's a way for us to showcase the capabilities of the abstract to other potential customers. So something you mentioned earlier was artificial intelligence, and we're able to harness that into an AI-driven interface where the user is going to get this realistic kind of engagement. So really, really exciting. And again, I will have more to say on that once we get some of our intellectual property nailed down. But to keep it kind of vague, that's essentially what that application is. So, and you said there that we've had a few press related things that we were on the news. Another one that I think, if anybody has time to read, I was pretty excited about. We were featured in Tech Ohio for our technology, which is essentially the Ohio Department of Development's press release branch. So they wrote a big piece about what we're up to and kind of highlighted it as Ohio being a center for tech growth and things like that. So that was pretty cool.
I saw, actually, thank you for sharing the demo of the Way of the Empty Hand with me on Discord. And Colin has given me permission to release that video. That will be on the YouTube version. It's quite a large file, so obviously I can't share it here, but really fascinating. And one thing I learned from just watching that is it just takes advantage of what VR can really do. And my comment in that was like, wow, here we are in this kind of demo of this very simple, let's get started. How do we, like in this, in karate, like how do we master the very basics first? And can you maybe go into detail about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, again, I want to steer away from getting too in detail about how that's going to happen. But, if for anybody that's listening that's taken martial arts, everything's important. The way that you make your fist, the way that you interact with your instructor, it's about instilling discipline and understanding the intricacies of the moves. And, it's a mental engagement just as much as it is physical. And so through that artificial intelligence focused instruction and some of the other technologies that we can leverage, because we're not relying on the headset's processing power, because we can run and render these massive algorithms in the cloud, we can deliver this realistic, high fidelity, you're getting the muscle memory, you're getting the actual you're getting the feeling of being in these classes. So and again, I don't want to get into too much of that because we just want to be careful about what we put out there to the public before we've got everything copywritten and whatnot. But
that's really good. Yeah, I appreciate it. Now, with the commercial and military aspect of it, where do you see the most value to be gained from your client in terms of virtual reality?
Well, the military customer is looking for the fastest way to train effectively. So what we can offer is these realistic, high fidelity virtual spaces where, for instance, the Army could have a simulated battle and tie in the Air Force. So the Air Force and Army can be in one simulation together and actually play out these tactics in a virtual environment that you wouldn't be able to do if they were not in the cloud. So you get that. You also get the ability to ship a headset to an individual, maybe at a forward operating post that isn't near any other base, but you need these soldiers to know the most recent adaptation to a piece of equipment. You can change that in the cloud. It instantiates across the network, and then every soldier, regardless of where they're at, is getting the same information at the same time. So instead of flying that soldier to a base 1,000 miles away so that they can learn in person or they can make sure that they understand it, you can have that sent to them, regarding, as long as they have a 50 megabyte or better internet connection, you can get that information anywhere, anytime. So that's the biggest value. It's the logistics and the timing. So you can cut down the amount of time it takes to train, and you don't have to shuffle people around. So that's in the military. That's the biggest value that we see. On the industrial side, we're looking at creating pre-employment training simulators. And what I mean by that is, say, for a factory who has a high churn rate where they're hiring people and they're having trouble keeping staff, they spend a lot of time and energy training these people on location and spending a week of orientation just to get them on the floor, and then they fall off a couple weeks later. So what we can do is we can cut down the time it takes to train by creating a realistic VR simulation of the job function. So you're learning how to push the buttons on the machinery, you're learning how to load, whatever the equipment is, and that way when you show up to work on day one, you've got the muscle memory to do it. You know how to do the job function, and you hit the ground running from day one. So it really does add value to that factory or that industry partner in that way. Not to mention, there's a lot of other implications to creating these digital twins of factories. There's ways that they can run simulations on catastrophic events and different things like that. There's a few different ways in which we can really be beneficial to the industrial partner. And I guess while we're on that topic, if anyone in our listening audience happens to be in a position within a facility that could use something like this, please reach out. We're in very early stages with a few different industry partners right now, and we're always looking for more partners to help us prove out this tech. For anybody that wants to look up that might be in these positions, there's what they call gamified education, educational gamification, however you want to say it. It's a technique that is instilled through learning a job function in a gamified way. And there's plenty of science to prove that someone who learns in a gamified way retains information at a much faster rate than just watching a video or what have you. So we're trying to showcase that. We're trying to get some hard data behind the value of that. So, again, we're still pretty early stage in it, but, you got to start somewhere.
Absolutely. And I was, when I was first writing this up, I was thinking for the potential for VR in high-risk environments, such as like explosives or radioactive environments. For example, let's say in a SWAT environment, disarming and disposal of, let's say, explosives or something like that. You need high dexterity, precision, and these skills will often only come with that hands-on experience. So obviously, this VR system can probably go a long way in all kinds of first responder situations for advanced training, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely. And if you look, there are simulations like that today, right? The problem that you run into with these current simulations that you see in use at police departments or even in the military is they're pretty typically lower fidelity, which means the character models are kind of cartoony, the atmospheres are kind of cartoony. And you notice that the headsets are attached to computers and there's cables and cords everywhere. And along with that is the fact that if you want to train someone on that VR system, you have to fly them to that base. You have to fly them to that precinct. Whatever the case is, it's stationary. It stays right there because the servers and everything that runs it is on location. So you have to have the technical staff that knows how to manage the system. You have to maintain all the hardware. What we're offering through the abstract is the ability to remove all of those components, and all you need is the standalone VR headset, Meta Quest 2 or equivalent style headset, and a 50 megabyte or better internet connection, and you can have those simulations anywhere that you need them. And something along those lines that we are still working to flesh out is the integration of IoT devices, meaning Internet of Things. So, accelerometers, weapons that are integrated into a computer. We're trying to find the best way right now to connect those to the cloud so that there's no latency for anybody that's technical or enough to be listening right now. I guess that on a little tangent about some things that we're working on in the background that are going to make this pretty revolutionary, in my opinion.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. You actually had in your website a study from YouGov from 2022 showing data regarding people's overall interest in VR. Things like video games, watching sports, attending live performances, movies, even shopping. And the data was sampled from 17 countries, I believe, including like Australia, Great Britain, Singapore, United States, many others. And with VR and these activities, there was a growth between 3 and roughly about 13%, depending on the activity, in just 1 year, which I thought was really impressive. So the public can clearly see the value of using VR and how it can kind of complement the user experience. Did this kind of data surprise you at all? Or did you expect it to be less or more? Or do you have it? What were your thoughts on that?
It did kind of surprise me when I read that article, which is why I shared it. What we saw last year was a firestorm of interest in VR, quote unquote, metaverse, right? And that did a disservice to virtual reality just as an industry, because there was all this hype about something that was not delivered on, couldn't be delivered on. Billions of dollars pumped into this idea, which is a sound vision. That's what the abstract was set out to be, is this virtual environment where all of these interactions can happen seamlessly in a digital space. But it backfired and caused a lot of negative press to happen. And so when I read that article and seeing that people are actually, tangibly becoming more and more interested in virtual reality as a way to experience media or game or, industry and military applications, it really did solidify my belief that VR is still in its infancy. It has a long way to go, but there's so much potential in every single sector to be gained by integrating VR into the current model. So it was really eye-opening to see, and it was cool.
The last time I think we had you on, we were talking about funding, and I think you had gone through WeFunder, which is kind of a crowdfunding source, I believe. Are you still accepting any investment in your business at all, or is that more done?
That crowdfund's over. It ended in September of last year. We are in the beginning stages of ramping up for a seed round. We haven't decided if that's going to be exclusively venture capital or if we are going to do a crowdfund component to that. I'll have an answer to that in October. But yeah, we raised successfully with, I'm sure, a lot of people on this call with your help. So thank you all for your commitment. And that got us to our prototype of the abstract. That got what you see on SideQuest VR. What made that possible? What made all of these partnerships with these universities and different customers possible? So we wouldn't be where we are today without that. So that's amazing. Today, we are sustaining off of income from these partnerships that we've established. So that's where our income and payroll comes from. Anybody who is a WeFunder investor, if you go on our portal on WeFunder.com, you'll see our financials. How that was all broken down over the course of 2022, and you can expect the same for 2023 as well. But yeah, we haven't decided if we're going to open that up to a wider audience in this seed round or not. Being that it's our seed round, we've identified $1.5 million of need to get us to where we need to be to continue our growth. So it's a larger number. We may kind of lean more heavily on VC funding, but I'll keep you guys posted.
I appreciate it very much. So, I mean, I know technology changes pretty fast and stuff, but where do you think you see objective reality and abstract VR in, let's say, a year from now?
I think what you're going to see from us in the next year is a heavier focus on the delivery of AI tools to the end user. For instance, for a lot of the environment development and different tools within NVIDIA's Omniverse suite of products requiring A400 or better GPUs, if anybody is familiar. So a lot of that's unattainable for the average at-home customer. We want to be able to create a space where those computing resources can be delivered. So we're going to get a lot more into that, but also the AI generated content is another thing that we're really interested in. So being able to get in the VR headset in the abstract and tell a AI avatar in the world, hey, I would like to see a Wild Western city, and then it builds a virtual environment of a Wild Western city on demand for the customer. So those kind of things are really exciting to us. The ability to talk to a non-player character and hold conversations with them and have that natural, realistic engagement with the non-player character in the game is another thing that's really only possible if you're tapping into cloud resources. So we want to be a way to facilitate that for other developers as well as ourselves, but to make really awesome experiences. I see a lot of potential in the game design world for these advancements that we're seeing start to pop up, and it's really exciting.
It sounds like it. I mean, it's the idea, even concept of being able to do that just seems so. I can't even imagine what that would look like, and then to see it grow and grow and grow and get more and more complex. That just sounds amazing. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I agree.
The one thing that a lot of us are really curious about is that the partnership between EverGrow and Abstract VR for metaverse integration of LunaSky NFT Marketplace, as well as accepting Lucro token for the games on your platform. So have you and Sam kind of talked about the timelines of integration? And do you believe that would happen this year? Could you even say?
Yeah. There's some things that I can't say, obviously, but Sam and I have been in close contact, and we decided that it wasn't a good use of our time or resources to worry about integrating LunaSky and the different EGC products until they were ready. So we've kind of just been waiting for the launch of LunaSky to happen. The first real crypto-based experience in the abstract is going to be that NFT marketplace, and we're going to build from there. So it's something that I think is going to happen relatively soon. To go back to what I was talking about at the beginning, we've had those issues with getting widespread adoption of the abstract because of the limitations set on us, from the headset. But we do have, we have a workaround that we are currently negotiating that I'll have more to say here soon. That it's really exciting, but it's going to open that up to anybody that wants to use the space. Not just in the MetaQuest headset either. So it'll be any VR headset. So that, in tandem with this launch of LunaSky, means that we will be able to rock and roll and get that out to you guys as soon as possible, which will be before the end of the year for sure. But I don't have a solid date on that. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. I actually just had a talk with Sam earlier this week where we kind of worked through some of that stuff. So yeah, more to announce on that soon.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, we've tried to pressure Cody into telling us a date, but he just won't do it. So, but I do have a question regarding the previous time we talked, and that was you had described the gaming experience where a player could theoretically, using crypto like Lucro, buy gear within that game, and it could be transferred, bought, sold between other people within that game. And so obviously the use of Lucro is really a big deal for us because it's another use case, it's another utility. Is that still a possibility? Do you still see that happening?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Like I said, we just kind of had to walk it back. Both Sam and myself, we bit off more than we could chew. I think it's fair to say. I don't want to speak for Sam, but we tried to get too many things going at once, and it really was important to step back and narrow the focus and just make sure that we deliver 100% on one thing first. So that's really been my focus, is just making sure that we do it and we do it right. So that's still definitely on the roadmap. We have, as I mentioned, we have some partnerships happening right now where we're developing content that is going to run exclusively on the abstract. And because the abstract is going to be a crypto-based marketplace that runs on your token, it's going to require that anything purchased for those games or in the games is purchased with the token. So that's definitely still the case. It's hard for me to put a date on when that's going to happen, because we have to get LunaSky in there first and test it and working and we go from there. But it's definitely on the horizon.
It's fantastic news. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Have you, out of curiosity, have you seen LunaSky? Have you got to check it out at all? Has Cody shared with you any of that at all?
Yeah, I've seen. I don't know if I've seen the latest iteration, but I have seen it within the last few months. Really, really phenomenal.
The screenshot that I saw just the other day, where Cody was asking if you like landscape versus portrait mode, and I was just like, kind of blown away by even just seeing it on a small phone screen. And it's, you know, it's not the whole thing. I was pretty impressed with how it looks.
Yeah, yeah. And we've been talking through how do we translate that into VR. We've got a few ideas that I think you guys will enjoy as well. You know, to make it interactive in the VR headset. So that'll be exciting when we get that there.
I appreciate it. Cody, it looked like you wanted to jump in, by all means.
Well, I was just gonna, just say, hey, Colin, by the way, always great to hear from you, my friend. Yeah, I was just gonna say it's changed quite a bit. It has evolved a lot over those last few months. So, Colin, we'll get you caught up here because it's about to happen. So, and to your to what you were referring to, Steve, about that tweet, it was kind of funny because like I saw Rocket's tweet and I kind of was just playing off that a little bit. There's a friendly rivalry there with him because he did the portrait mode tweet recently. And you remember the past, I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks, we've done a few different tweets that everyone has seen of the home screen specifically. Go back and look at those and see how it's changed from maybe the first one to now. You'll notice there's a lot of UI differences just from those first tweets we were leaking to, let's say, the more recent ones. So yeah, it's changed a lot. Rightfully so, it needed to. There was a lot of little things that needed to be taken care of, and since we're taking the time with it, all the better now. Of course, there will be post-launch additions, as we've talked about. Of course, there will be post-launch, I'm sure, tweaks as well. So, yeah.
I was wondering, Colin, did you have time for a few community questions at all?
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate it. So, actually, ActiveFan over on Discord had put I don't know if you can answer necessarily all of them, but the first question was, do you have an approximate number of gaming subscribers?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, we've kind of put that on the back burner. At our peak, we had 200 active gaming customers paying monthly subscription fee to play. Because we've had to refocus our energies, that number didn't actually work for the platform. Our math says that we need to have a minimum of 1,500 paying customers for it to make sense, because there's a lot of operation cost for running the cloud and things like that. So because we struggled to get that number through the secondary VR marketplace, we've paused use on the cloud at-home gaming service. And not to, that sounds like a bad thing, but it's absolutely not. We've got some ongoing talks with a large partner that I keep hinting to, and sorry I can't say more, but that is going to be the way that we hit those goals. And once I can announce it, you'll understand why. But yeah, it's on pause right now. We're using those resources for other things. We are, like I mentioned, we're holding these summer camps where the kids were using our cloud resources to make games. We're working on these industrial and military applications that, again, unfortunately, I hate to be a broken record, but there's reasons why I can't talk about a lot of it, and it'll make sense once we can.
I appreciate it very much. You talked a little bit about AI and VR, so we'll cover that. One suggestion that ActiveFan had made was basically a commercial app to integrate fashion design in VR in conjunction with AI. Example, a designer uses AI to generate a pattern, and then they can be integrated into VR onto a 3D model. I thought that was kind of fascinating. It sounded to me like an augmented reality merged with VR. I thought it was kind of really interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. I saw that question. That's a really solid idea. They've got who is it? One of the furniture manufacturers, it might be IKEA, has an AR marketplace where you can see what a piece of furniture looks like in your living room by holding the camera up, and it overlays it over the living room so you can get an idea. Things like that are really fascinating. And like you said, with the integration of AI, it just makes it so much more possible to knock out these development, these design ideas and things, which is really interesting. And I think that's a little out of my wheelhouse. Obviously, we're not fashion designers, but the same applies for game design, right? Like you can get in there and with AI say, let's make this character model, let's make this piece of scenery, and then just kind of piece that all together into a VR game that is playable in a matter of months, and versus 2-3 years of development, which again it's something that we're leveraging right now in our current project. Motion capture, for instance, is a tedious, long endeavor, but leveraging some AI assisted mocap technology, we're able to knock out those motion capture projects in a matter of weeks. So you're going to start seeing a lot of projects come to market a lot faster, just because you're not limited so much as you were.
What was your, out of curiosity, what are your thoughts on the current writers strikes, actors, kind of where they're concerned about AI and capturing their likeness and then using their likeness in film? I didn't see that one coming personally. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it is scary. It is, content creators, artists, writers, all of those functions are kind of up in the air right now. There has to be some really good limitations put on the use of AI and likenesses and things like that. I mean, it's scary. It's scary to think that somebody could aggregate enough videos of me talking and use AI to generate a likeness of me and then have me saying whatever they want. That's scary. But yeah, I don't know where that goes from here. I know that everybody's running 100 miles an hour to the finish line of creating this general AI. But I don't think a lot of people are taking the time to say, well, what safeguards do we need to have in place so that this doesn't get out of control? And something, I don't know if you guys follow along with the AI conversation much, but I was watching a podcast the other day, and it was some of the developers of ChatGPT essentially saying that they don't understand how their own AI software works. When you look at it now, it doesn't perform the same way as it did when they created the algorithms. So they don't even know, that's scary. That's scary.
It's interesting because CWP linked to me an article from, I think it was the UK, where a mom had got a call from what she thought was her daughter that was abducted and was, basically screaming for help. And the mom was extorted for $50,000, and she thought it was her daughter. It was AI. It was an AI of her daughter's voice. I mean, the potential for good and the potential for harm is just kind of mind-boggling. I don't think we've caught up yet to see the potential of it. It's kind of interesting. Like I said, kind of frightening, and you got to be really, really careful.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and that we see that here. We're getting phone calls from robocalls essentially that say that they're with Google or this or that, and really it's not. And you really have to be careful nowadays. There's I don't know what the right answer is. It is kind of nerve-wracking for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to go ahead and open it up to our panel of speakers. Do you have any questions for Colin at all? By all means, and then I'll go ahead and open up. If somebody has a question for Colin in the audience, just please raise your hand, and I'll bring you up to speak. I don't know, Cody or Marius or CWP, do you have a question? MoonAndroid?
Yes, I would like to. Oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, you, sir, please.
All right, thank you. As a miniature investor in your wonderful company who sees the potential as much as you see it, maybe even more, um, I would like to ask a question about your next round of funding. Are you in a position where you have to decide on one or the other, whether it's crowdfunded or whether it's through venture capitalists, or can you do a combination?
Sure. We can do a combination. I think what really is going to be the deciding factor there is that, when we go into this round, we have what's called a lead investor. The lead investor is going to be a venture fund. And then we kind of have to take direction from them as to what they think is the right way forward. I would love to do a side-by-side venture round with a crowdfund component, because I think it's important to be able to include the community in the process so that people can feel like they have ownership of it as well. But again, I think really where the decision is going to be made is, does this venture firm feel like it'll be a good fit for the seed round? We obviously will have our say in that as well, so I'm definitely going to push for it. But when it comes down to it, if it's a decision between having the round fulfilled by venture funding or potential funding falling away because of us choosing to add in the crowdsourced component, we'd have to make a decision. So yeah, I definitely want to.
Well, good, because I would like to put some more money into you. I wish I was a multimillionaire. I would completely fund you. I'm also concerned that if you do venture capital, that you might potentially lose control of the company, and I would hate to see that happen too, because I admire you very much, and I think you're fully capable of handling the company on your own without being dictated to.
Oh man, thanks. I need you on my team over here to to make me feel better sometimes. No, that is a concern. Absolutely. I as long as I control enough of the company, as long as our team controls enough of the company to have the final decision on the direction of where we're going, I don't feel like I have to hold on to everything. Basically, as long as I can maintain that majority over the other shareholders of the company, I'll sleep well at night. So it is scary to think that at some point you could lose control of your own invention, but yeah, definitely, I definitely need to think about that before we go and just raise a bunch of money.
Thank you, CWP. Cody, go ahead.
Yeah, not so much a question that hasn't, I guess, already been addressed to a degree, but we'll see. If this is anything repeat, apologies. I was just curious. So with the obvious recent popularity this past year alone with AI, has this changed, affected, or assisted with the development process for Abstract?
Yeah, it's absolutely changed. I think when we started this, well, definitely when we were doing the crowdfunding, AI was not in the conversation, really. So our thought was, our team is going to get out there and do this development, and we're going to work toward this game streaming application, and a focus on integrating these current game titles and everything that we mentioned in the crowdfund. But now that AI is really in the forefront, I think the biggest change that we've seen is that we don't have to spend as much time and energy with the content creation and the level design, or the artwork and things like that. We can lean on AI a lot more for that, and it can work in the background as a way to augment our team, so we don't have to bring on as many people to get tasks done, which for better or worse, that's kind of been our main use of AI. But no, it's only going to get more and more integrated, I believe, into our projects, because like I mentioned, you could have an experience, a VR gaming experience, where the user can essentially make the game as they go. Like, they can generate a story and the AI can feed into it and just build this experience individual to each user. That's just something that was never possible 2 years ago. So I think those are the biggest areas that we see it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Wow, thank you for sharing. I was curious about that because, obviously this past year, AI has become extremely popular in the public, right? I mean, it's been in development for a very, very long time, and now it's really starting to get that public eye on it. And with things like Mid-Journey to things like Chat GPT, I thought about you guys recently because I was thinking, like, well, during their development process, I'm wondering if this is starting to modify the trajectory of their development, not necessarily the release dates per se, but the development itself, right? Like you talked about earlier, in I think within a particular game, interacting with non-humans, right, in a very human way. And I was thinking right then and there, like, well, I wonder how AI is playing into that, if it is playing into that, or if it will.
Yeah. I mean, so far we have it integrated into one project, that martial arts simulator that I was explaining. So that's our first use case of the non-player character being powered by AI and Chat GPT. So it's not just that the user can speak to this non-player character and then the non-player character can form its own response, but also that we can program this AI to follow the user and say, okay, well, let's do this a little differently. Let's do this. And it's just fascinating to me what is possible in the gaming sphere with those advancements. Tracking motion and speed and velocity and all those things can be calculated on demand instantly, without massive servers. If you've ever seen some of these scientific research labs where they do motion capture for biometrics and looking to see how arms and limbs move and things like that, they're hooked up to these big servers and they've got wires everywhere. That's essentially possible now without all of that hardware. So that's just crazy. Crazy to me, but it's exciting.
Just imagine where it'll be in a year. I mean, I was going to say 5 years from now, but in a year or two from now, we may not even recognize where we were.
Oh, right, yeah.
Does anybody else have questions for Colin at all? I mean, just the integration for LunaSky. I mean, that has me super excited, and then of course Lucro integration as well. I just can't wait to see how that all unfolds. And
this reminds me. I want to repeat one thing that Colin said earlier. Everyone, he said, and I'm not going to get this word for word, but essentially, and Colin also, please chime in if I just butcher this. He said that the first use case for crypto in the abstract will be through LunaSky.
Absolutely.
Right. Yep.
That's huge. I love that.
I still remember when I first saw one of my NFT cards on their showcase of in the game world, and I was just like, "Wow, that's so cool!" So yeah.
Does anybody else have any other questions for Colin at all? Colin, you're more than welcome to hang out with us, but I know you're very busy too. If you have to leave, by all means. I just checked Discord to see if there was anything new there, and I don't see any new questions. But do you have any questions for us at all? By all means.
Thanks. Yeah. No, I'll probably have to jump off here before too long, but I know that you guys do these weekly, right? So I'll definitely have to start making a more regular appearance. We've got some meetings coming up this week that if I can get things finalized, I'd love to share with you. We're really excited about some stuff that's coming up here. So I'll have to make a more regular appearance. But you guys are awesome. The support that we get from everyone here is just phenomenal. One thing that I know has been kind of frustrating for some of you that are EGC investors that are following along with us. We're not really out there right now as much as we were during the raise, so it's I'm sure a little frustrating that we're not sharing as much. And essentially what that boils down to is we had to make a decision between where our funds needed to go. We are kind of limited in the money that we have, so taking some time away from funding an individual to just make posts and do things like that was important for where we were right now. But we definitely want to get back to a place where we can have a full-time person who's out there championing for us and making it known what we're up to. But we are a little different than the cryptocurrency, than a blockchain. We're in the Schedule C corporate world, so we try to stick to those rules and regulations and make sure that we do things the way that the standards set by the industry. So again, apologies for not being as vocal out there with you guys, but just know that doesn't mean that we're not doing anything. We're definitely working around the clock over here to get some of these projects to light. And unfortunately, because of the customers that we've got and the things that we're doing, a lot of it we can't really talk about. We're on the cutting edge of where cloud computing and AI meet. So we're really trying to leverage that into some stuff that puts us out in the forefront as an authority on these topics. So it's been a wild ride, but we'll work on getting more vocal and keeping you guys updated.
Well, I really appreciate you being here and spending a little bit of time with us, and can't wait to see what's next for you guys. You're more than welcome to come up anytime at all. I'm just going to bring up Paul real quick here. Give him a minute to connect. Yeah, it's a real pleasure. I'm really glad you had the time to join us today, and I hope you didn't mind me kind of reaching out on occasion to see how things were going.
No, not at all. Not at all. But I'll let you guys go, and I'll try to catch back up next time.
Thank you, Colin. Please, everybody, give some applause for Colin Rose, Abstract VR. Really appreciate your time here today, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Colin. Always a pleasure to hear from you, my friend.
Paul, how you doing today?
That was just great. I enjoyed all of that.
Sorry, what was the last part?
I was just kidding. I said I really enjoyed all that. It was really good.
You were just lurking in the background.
No,
huh?
I actually wasn't. No, I just literally decided something. I was trying to get on a 5, then something crazy happened here around the house, so I literally couldn't get on. So sorry about that.
No worries at all. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Yeah. So what's new with you, Paul?
Not much. Just some crazy personal stuff was just going on, so I was running around. But no, I was trying to be here because I don't know what you guys talked about, but I was on the phone with Sam and Colin on the phone the other day, so I did get my update. So I'm not sure how much you shared, but I'm sure it was all good and everything, is because I know all what I heard was good, and we're really excited about the future with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're going to just give us a little bit of background of the business and where things are going. And of course, Cody was just kind of reiterating just towards the end there, just kind of how big of a deal it is that we're going to have the LunaSky NFT Marketplace integrated in this kind of VR environment. And then, of course, Lucro being integrated as well. I mean, that's just pretty fantastic.
I actually, I don't know if, the people that have been around since the beginning know this, but so the Objective Reality had a series, I think it's a Series A funding round. It was like a crowdfunding round, and I put thousands of dollars down for shares, you know, when they actually come out. Now I can't touch them yet, but so I put my own money behind them. That's how much I believe in them. So, you know, I think it was like a year ago, I put my own money behind them, and I know a lot of people at the beginning too did. So we have a lot of faith in them, and I backed it up with, you know, my own money behind, just like I do with EverGrow. So I believe 100% in them.
Yeah, Sam also mentioned, this was quite a while ago, that he is an investor as well, and that's how much he believes in him as well.
Yeah, I think Sam's share of the pie is always bigger than mine, as we all know. You know, Sam's got a little bigger bag than we all do, or most of us do. But that's his own thing. So, but I think there was like a max, and I don't know if there was a min to put in, but I know there's a few people that put in a couple $100, and then I think the max was like 50,000. It was that one person could put in shares, and I think they're having another round.
He was just talking about that, actually. They were deciding whether they were going to do VC or a combination of private and VC. So I guess it's kind of up in the air right now. They don't know 100%.
Yeah, I think they're going to see how the next, you know, few months play out, and then play it by ear by that. I know, you know, him and Sam were talking about it. Sam knows a lot about that stuff. So, you know, discussing the best way forward and stuff. Pretty exciting stuff, you know, beyond even the EverGrow stuff. So it can only benefit us, I'll tell you that. So it benefits us, it benefits them. So I like the collaboration.
Absolutely. And just the idea to be able to see LunaSky in a virtual environment, you know, I think I'd love to see how it looks. I think it's going to be amazing.
I'm going to sit back and have myself a nice Bloody Mary or a dirty martini and just watch those stars move, y'all. That's what I'm going to do. I don't have a VR headset yet, but I will. And one day, I'm going to sit back, and maybe all of us can hang out together in that VR world and just sit under the LunaSky and just chill out and watch those stars and flip through cool pictures.
And the occasional pug.
Yep, and then there's a little pug there, and then there's 100 pictures, and then, yep, good times.
There was
honestly, I don't blame them, Colin and Abstract VR, for going more in the direction of, you know, taking a company more in the direction of the military complex and industrial markets. Because if we look at how things are right now, that's definitely where the potential is. So I kind of agree with that decision. It doesn't mean that the gaming side of things, shouldn't be done as well, of course, but it shouldn't be the only focus. And I don't even think that's the biggest market for that technology to begin with. That being said, I have to experience LunaSky and VR. That would be freaking amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait till the day comes where we can have, and we will, a lobby, that we can all meet up in VR and hang out and say, hey, well, y'all want to come over to LunaSky for a minute and check out some of the latest stuff? Y'all want to come over here, maybe play some Lucro games, like that is what's going to be cool, right? We have the opportunity to meet up and hang out together in a virtual world. On a deeper level than ever before, right? Just because it's 2023 and the tech exists to do this kind of stuff. So that's going to be fun, being able to look back at this conversation one day in a year, 2, 3, whatever down the road, and recollect on this together in that VR world. Think about that. Like that really is exciting,
Kind of mind blowing when you think about it.
Yeah, I know. Some of you guys know this, and Cody knows too, but so I can speak more about this now that we don't know exactly what it's going to look like. But so, like, they have designed a lot of mock-ups of what, it can look like in there. And I know you guys have seen some, I remember, maybe last year there was that release where it was like inside of a room, like where it looked like inside of houses and rooms. So to give you guys, you pull back the curtain a little bit more, there have been other designs of where there's like, there's like you walk into a museum and then there's like, rooms where like LunaSky, and then there's a wallet, and then there's, games over here, whatever it is, and you can walk in any direction. There's an idea about a space station or something. And now there's more of, going this route where there's stars everywhere, and it's more of an open space, and instead you're looking up at the stars and you kind of look up and there's LunaSky and you can scroll through it like with your hand. And we all don't know exactly what that's going to look like because the exact designs are not done yet, because we've improve LunaSky so much and all these other things, and so the final design actually isn't done. So now I can actually go into a little more detail on what some of the things we had before going into it, but just they keep getting better and keep getting what's the word I'm looking for? More adventurous, I'm saying, or more, Cody, what's the word? Exciting? Like,
I mean, all that works, but I think evolve is a good word, because from last year to now, and then from now to probably 6 months to a year, we really don't know what ultimately it's going to look like, because those things have changed, along with the items that we have that have changed, and their development process that's changed, etc.
Exactly. Evolve is the word I was looking for.
Yeah, but it's important though that Abstract is a successful business, is growing and has funds to develop more and more stuff. It doesn't necessarily needs to be like 100% crypto oriented and everything. I totally agree with that. I think Marco mentioned it, but the more successful Abstract is, and we're somehow in the middle between that environment and crypto, with our products and how tokens work, what are NFTs, wallets, and everything. The more people go onto that, into Abstract, the more viewers we will have, and we will be in the middle. So that takes time. Obviously nothing goes according to the plan, like new businesses and everything. So yeah, the update was actually really good. It makes sense that they have they need to work hard, but the future is really, really exciting.
Cannot wait to see where we are in even just a year from now. I kind of asked Colin that question to see, like, where does he see Abstract VR in a year? And again, with how fast things are moving in AI and the technology, even just a year could feel like it's much longer than that. So can't wait to see.
Well, do you remember, and I'm going to bring this up because I feel like it, when we first started working with them, when we announced it, no one knew who they were. And, we know who they are. They're still a startup company just like we are. But I know some people that, weren't quite, supportive of EverGrow, putting out stuff that we partnered with a gaming company that they were in a supermarket, and they put it online like, oh, this is something. Now they have contracts with, going into the military, going into stuff that probably Colin didn't talk about because he's not allowed to yet. But literally, this is a company that is, already, estimated worth over $4 million, probably more, and going into their second round of raising. And it's not just some Ohio company that has games in the middle of a mall. It's a lot bigger than that. And, the fact that Sam and Colin found each other such an early stage, I think, can only be a benefit to us and with the direction that they're going. But you don't get there overnight. It takes time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, could you imagine for the company itself and all the investors of Abstract VR actually securing a contract with the military? That would be absolutely massive for the company, at least in my eyes.
Yeah, the military doesn't just decide to do business with just anybody, right? There's a background, check on them. There's the legitimacy of the business. So the fact that they passed all of that, they just didn't make it in terms of awarding funds just yet. Doesn't mean that they're not going to get it. It just means that they have to wait till the next release of funds. So I thought that was pretty remarkable that they made it that far. Because how many companies apply and never make it?
But even the other like partnerships and collaborations like NVIDIA, AWS, and everything, those are not just random names. They're pretty much big companies in the game, and those are really important as well. So if you sum it up and you see like all of these that they acquired and they are working on. Okay, this is really, really serious. So it's just a matter of time, to evolve and be everything that these guys are planning. So yeah, it's we again we have to be patient.
One university partnership is impressive, and they have 3, so that should say a lot right there.
I mean, NVIDIA, Steve, that's like what, a top 15 company in the world? I mean, wow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
and
what?
I remember,
what you just say there? Can you explain what Colin said? So I can. I don't know. I know stuff we talked about in our meeting, but you just said something that was pretty interesting that I didn't know if we were supposed to talk about or not. Can you expand on what you just said, Moon?
About what? Sorry, Paul.
About the companies you just said, and what Colin said about them.
Yeah, in partnership with NVIDIA, one of the largest companies in the world. Yeah, because he mentioned that, and like Mario was saying, that's not something that just falls on your lap. They have to see something, on their technology, on their end, that they're doing to even consider freaking talking to them. Excuse my language.
That's a big deal. It's a
big deal. Absolutely a big deal. I mean, we're talking about a company that goes toe to toe with Google, Microsoft, Meta. I mean, they're huge.
Yeah,
and they've been in talks with NVIDIA for, I think, well over a year to bring this about. It's really impressive.
If I understood correctly, though, there's something else coming that kinds of unblocks them, to reach more people. If I understood that correctly.
Yeah, he did mention a partnership that he couldn't mention that was very, very big. That's exciting. That kind of got the wheels turning, because I was thinking like, oh gosh, I could think of a few.
Yeah,
what's
bigger? I mean, I don't know.
Oh, I mean, there could be a few there. So that's, who knows? That'll be really cool to hear about.
Yeah, I mean, and for us, like we like their these partnerships, and we support them and everything, but we never promoted. Oh, we got our metaverse partner has these big names, and how crypto moves and rumors and stuff like that. Like we honestly wish them lots of success, and and actually make it happen, because this is what we actually need right now, more products, and actually making it delivered to all of our investors. But yeah, these big names are usually getting some eyes on and stuff like that. So yeah, just
anybody want to
comment.
make any guesses about what that company is?
Yes, yes, I have a guess. I do. I don't know. This is absolutely shooting from the hip, y'all. So I have no knowledge, no inside info about any of this. But the very first thing that popped in my head for some reason was Blizzard. I don't know why, but it did.
Oh man, if it's Blizzard, look out.
What?
First thing that popped for me was Google.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, Google would be massive.
Golly, can you imagine?
Blizzard's been going down the drain. I don't know.
That's what I heard, but you never know. Maybe there's a turnaround. Maybe there's something going on back there. I don't know. Maybe some other type of game studio like that. I don't know. Maybe Blizzard's not the best example, but I was thinking something like that.
But
in the video game world, sure. Yeah, Blizzard's the top for sure.
They need somehow to push their. Okay, sorry. I need to. Yeah, my kid is crying. Sorry.
No problem. Well, if you guys don't mind switching gears, we'll kind of cover a little bit of news. And I was going to ask you, CWP, you ever been on Twitter or read something like an opinion piece, and you're kind of you read it and you're like, man, that makes a lot of sense, and you go back and you read it again, and then you read it again, and then you read it again, and you're kind of like it just really resonates with you. That was one article that or not an article, but a piece that was written on X, or I want to say Twitter, but it was actually by Lady of Crypto. She put out a post the other day, and it said, like this, and it kind of sounds kind of dark a little bit, but just follow along with me. So she goes on, she says, the crypto market is a bit of a joke. We pretend that this is a revolution, and it was at one point, but we've turned this into the ultimate casino. We say we should be taken seriously, but we can't even take ourselves seriously. Meme coins, hamster racing, and rugs, GFC, the endless rugs. We take the piss out of Gensler to try to regulate us, and to be fair, the guy has it coming. I don't like Gensler at all. He's a clown, but given how we run this industry, we pretend to be friends, at least, well, some of us do, but we're all just trying to sell before each other. Everyone wants to dump on everyone else. I'm not sure that there is even more cutthroat industry than crypto. We chase green candles like an incel simp chasing Insta-girls, collectively pumping and dumping entire crypto sectors because we're degenerates who lack long-term mindset. We have almost zero self-awareness and self-control. Even I, the, in quotes, long-term investor girl, threw 5 figures into base only to get half of it rugged and gambling outside of garbage cryptos that are 150% casino and minus 50% revolution. And I can afford to lose it. I'm not crying about that. But that doesn't make it any less dumb. What are we even doing? This entirety of July 2023 can be summed up by 2 things: hamster racing and rugs. That's what crypto has become. How is this not a complete effing joke? How are we not begging to be regulated so hard that crypto becomes a shadow of its former self? I'm just hoping to dump on BTC, continue down to 20K or lower, alts nuke, and we can rebuild something half decent from the ashes that remain. Don't get me wrong, I love the idea of crypto, but only the idea. The industry right now, meh. I do hope these things are just growing pains and we turn this into something a little more sensible. So I've read that, like I said, 4 or 5 times. The lady's post was kind of harsh in some ways. And I like to think we're different here in EGC, most of us at least. I think, again, this comes from the top of EGC. We have a professional group, which I believe conduct themselves professionally and ethically. And there may be differences of opinion, of course, personal and business matters, but I see the team working together for the collective good of the project and its investors. I think, like we were talking about earlier, about evolution, evolving, I feel like we are evolving away from a certain market of crypto, and I'm really, really proud of that because we're differentiating ourselves from the standard crypto, this insaneness. I don't even know what you call it. I think we're pretty tame in here, honestly. So, but this brings me to an article that I had read also, and that is how many cryptocurrencies have failed in 2023. Cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology undoubtedly have a bright future ahead. However, apart from many success stories, many cryptocurrencies have failed as of March 2023. Since BTC was launched in 2009, thousands of cryptos have launched with the aim of hopes of introducing new utilities to the end user. Sadly, not many of these cryptos survive beyond launch, and those that do survive can still encounter crippling challenges. While it's hard to determine the exact number, between 1,700 and 2,500 cryptocurrencies might have failed and disappeared from the market entirely. Some of the key reasons why the cryptos failed include a lack of investment and trading volume, abandonment by the devs, hacks, and rug pulls. And this is the most important part of the article that I read. Why do cryptocurrencies fail? Cryptos and crypto projects fail for many reasons. By understanding what those reasons are, cryptocurrencies can place themselves in a stronger position when creating a crypto portfolio. The most common reasons that made cryptocurrencies fail: number 1, saturated market. Although cryptos have existed for around 14 years, there's more than 10,000 cryptos in existence. This has resulted in an oversaturation, and the weaker projects have failed as a result. Lack of liquidity, number 2. A major side effect of oversaturation is low liquidity. If interest in a crypto project drops, liquidity almost falls. And when liquidity falls, it becomes quite challenging for investors to buy and sell. Most platforms consider crypto to be dead in the case of trading volume falls below $1,000 in the previous 3 months. Number 3, inexperienced team. A lack of real-world utility can mostly arise from an inexperienced team. The most successful crypto projects are run like a business. Although people can be great at coding and generating ideas, the implementation of these ideas is what results in success. If the developers are inexperienced in the business world, the project will eventually fail. Number 4, a lack of funding. If the project lacks adequate funding, it is bound to fail. And number 5, scams. It is too easy to create a crypto, and that makes the crypto market highly risky. Then the malicious parties and scam exploits easily, Many examples of crypto scams involvement schemes like rug pulls that are abandoned after enough money is collected from their investors. And the last, it does not solve a problem. Most of the successful cryptos are designed with utility in mind. Nevertheless, there are thousands of crypto with no specific purpose. While some joke and like meme coins like Shiba Inu and Dogecoin are doing well, most of the others have failed after launch. So articles such as this help me kind of reflect and realize just kind of how lucky we are to have found this amazing project. So even more so to have found the team behind it. Each one of the team members that I've seen were chosen to lead because of their specific experience and what they can bring to the project. I think for any company, knowing how to match the needs of the company and pair those needs with the right people is where almost all companies get it wrong. This comes from good leadership and good experience. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. What are your thoughts on it? Anybody can jump up?
There is so much to unpack there, so much, especially on that first article. Who wrote that first article you read, Steve?
That was the Lady of Crypto.
Wow, that's. I mean, I could go on for an hour. I'm not even going to start. But all I want to say is I can understand that, and like we've discussed on this spaces many, many times before, we can all agree the crypto in general market as we know it, the crypto space is a problem as it stands. I mean, it's scam after scam. It's rug pull after rug pull. It is hard to get into. It is complex. It is not intuitive. I mean, even the simplest mistake, you don't even have to be rug pull. The simplest mistake and you can lose your funds. I understand. And that's all true. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that all of crypto is a joke, right? You can draw parallels. You can say, 95% of all cryptos and coins and tokens are rug pulls or scams or never go anywhere. And that's true. But you can draw the same exact parallel and say 95% of companies that are created eventually fail or never go anywhere. So the idea is it's not about the 95% that fail. It's about the 5% that make it. And you see that parallels in so many things. When the internet first came out, how many websites are still active online today from when the internet in the 90s first came out? I'd say less than 1%. Right, but that's the 1% that it's about. It's not about the ones that go away or that fail or scams. It's about the ones that work and revolutionize. If I'm making sense.
No, it makes complete sense. Cody, were you going to jump in on that one?
Yeah. To Moon's point, definitely a lot to unpack. For me specifically, I'm going to focus on one part of that in the latter aspect of what you were going over that you mentioned, specifically in regard to development. You like you said, and again, I'm paraphrasing here to what you were reading. In regard to development and developers, they can be very tenured, they can be very experienced, but there's a lot of factors that come into play. Therefore, there are a lot of unique challenges that come along with that. And one of those things, especially, is the business side of it. You can have very experienced or tenured developers that could be well versed across the platform of development, from front and back end to full stack to Solidity to 10 plus, 15, 20 plus years in the market of development across various platforms and companies, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean when it comes to getting involved in developing for Web3, that being business savvy goes right along with their experience of development, right? You can be fantastically experienced in development and have absolutely zero business savvy. And vice versa to a degree, I guess. But specifically your comment about how, developers and development and also being able to run their business and is going to play a lot into the accomplishment or lack thereof, right? It's like you have development that has a ton of challenges, and it's not just the aspect of building, but it's the aspect of managing it. It's the aspect of the business side of it. It's the aspect of organizing it. People don't realize unless they're in it what it takes to keep that stuff organized. It takes a ton to keep it organized. You've got the developers, right? You've got, and depending on the development people that you're working with, it could be a company or it could just be singular subcontractors. So companies typically have their own, functional approach to the way it's managed, to the way it's organized, project managers, whether they be like scrum masters, et cetera, versus subcontractors. It's just a guy building a particular thing for you, give or take. So there's a lot there. I really resonate hard with that because for me and what I'm involved in with EverGrow is obviously the management side of that, the organizational aspect of keeping that development moving forward, right? I'm not involved in development. I'm involved in managing development. And that has its own unique challenges as well, right? So that really resonated with me. I'd like to go back and read all that. If you could pin that somewhere, that'd be great.
You got it. You bet. Thank you. I appreciate it. So from a organizational aspect, working with EGC, where did you find the kind of pain points when you're kind of getting involved at EGC and starting to kind of manage things? And how did it get easier over time, or does it just get more complex, or the problems just change?
This is a great question. It's a question that doesn't have one singular answer, so I'm going to try to do my best to focus on tangible items here. So number one, did it get easier over time? Yeah, absolutely. Definitely gets easier over time because especially with longevity in your work peers, right? If you're working with the same people for longer periods of times, you learn how each other operate, you learn how to manage in between that, adapt to those types of things too, different personality types, etc. And we've kind of spoke about this on Spaces. So yeah, that aspect of it has gotten easier. Also along the way, I think it's really important to be open, to be coachable and to be open to learning because, coming into this world was new for all of us. I mean, sure, we have our own experiences from our personal lives, our personal careers, whatever that may be. We're coming into crypto and then Web3s. I mean, this is still new for everybody. This is an infinite. I mean, sorry, this is all in its infancy. This is an infant thing still. So, learning how to manage and be organized in certain regards when it comes to having meetings or when it comes to the development or when it comes to, a number of other things. Yeah, there's learning curves. There are coachable opportunities. There are challenges. There are things that start to mesh and gel, right, over time. So it's a big question. It's a good one.
Did you ever feel, and this is going to Paul Marius as well, but did you ever feel like it was ever like, oh my God, this is just so big? Because you guys are a small team. You guys aren't this billion-dollar operation. Did it ever feel like it was too much to wrap your hands around?
No, not for me. I can't speak for them. Not for me, but only because that's my professional experiences coming from a world of being organized, understanding how to build decks for meetings, understanding how to manage and run those types of things. So yes, there's a ton going on. What I do feel though, and one of my main goals for the company is to get us all better at that. To get us all better and being more efficient at those types of things. Naturally so, right? I think that should be any company's goal as they grow. Need to be more organized, need to be able to be more efficient in our day-to-day tasks and in our everything from our small things to our big things. Small things being our stand-ups together, and big things being, the ultimate goal of putting out a utility, right? And all the stuff that comes along with that. So, yeah.
I think to follow up on Cody, and sorry I missed what you were reading, Steve. I had to go take care of something, but kind of know what we're getting into here. Listening to Cody for the last 5 minutes. The two things I want to say is, feel like something big is, I think at the beginning, it started out as an investor and then I kind of moved up, in the process. So, it didn't feel like this big entry point because I slowly worked my way in. I just didn't come in and start managing, I didn't come in as operations manager. I started out, as a moderator, and then I worked my way in over, months and months and months, or probably over a year. So it just kind of, it didn't feel like a big change. It's kind of like, it was like a long period of time. Two, I think the biggest difference in what we're doing here is, when like Cody said, when we're managing this stuff is, when you're working for a business, you get quarterly updates and there's investors. We as people, that are doxed, and you all know us, we have that pressure to deliver for you guys. In a business, they do have that pressure to deliver to their shareholders, but it's not public. They're not on like Twitter every single day. They're not on Spaces, and you guys, demand stuff, and sometimes you get real mad stuff. And as you shouldn't demand, but you should expect this and that. And we're trying to deliver that for you, but there's that pressure there to deliver. And when we miss deadlines, we miss this, we miss that. It really, we feel that, and we don't want that. And I think that is the hardest part for me to deal with, that I have dealt with and I've learned to deal with. And you just have to shut out the noise, keep doing your job, and keep pushing forward. But at first, I think I wanted to say something back to the people that said, why is this, why is that, and we're like fighting online. And then we all came together as a team and we talk about it. And, over time now it's just like, you know what, focus on the task at hand, and, just I tell you guys the truth, under what we can tell, and move forward as best as we can. And if we weren't doing as good of a job, we have Sam at the top. If we weren't doing a good job, he would replace us with someone who could. I'll tell you that. And if someone isn't willing to do the job or doesn't want to, they're welcome to leave, quit, like you say, or find a job. It's just like any other business, except crypto's more in the public eye. Very different.
I imagine there's a tendency to be protective and defensive when people take it out on you, saying, well, why isn't this happening on this particular schedule? Just because there's so much invested personally and professionally. And I know, seeing how you guys react to criticism, there's been definitely a growth there on all of your parts, where you don't take it as personal anymore, because I think you realize that nothing you could say could like make them feel better in a sense. I don't really feel that way anyway. All you could really do is just continue to build and realize that certain things are just outside your control, and just keep going. And
well, we're also at we also have a all-time high that is absolutely crazy, that only a handful of other projects have had to deal with at the very beginning. EverGrow, set the record. So we're at this. We set this incredible bar of money, basically. Our market cap, if you will. That's built off of just nothing. That was built off of hype, bull market, roadmap, rewards, people buying in. We got to turn it into an actual business now. But that bar is set high. Like, I tell you this, if there are people out there, if we don't get past that, they're going to be like, oh, well, you didn't hit 1.5 billion, or you didn't hit this price point. Even if we get back up to $1 billion, still not going to be enough. And I'll bet you, if we get past the all-time high, people are still going to be like, yeah, but you should have done twice that or 3 times that, because you've been out for X amount of time or this long. So like you said, whatever we say, there's still going to be people out there, and I don't mind it. I've had actually, this is where Cody and Rocket and Sam and people in the past have come to me. I love getting out there and, stepping up to someone or explaining myself or explaining the team, not making excuses, but just, being protective, as you say. And I want to go even further, but we have to pull back, and, people just want attention out there. If we give them the attention, then they win. However, if someone asks a legitimate question and they're actually in a respectful way, we're going to answer it. If I'm able to answer it, I will. If someone sits there and asks me, oh my God, there's $1 million being taken out of the thing, why did that happen? That's a big deal. It's not a question I'm going to ignore. Now, someone says, oh, there was, $1,000 taken out. Where did that go? I mean, okay, probably to pay someone's salary or something. No one's stealing $1,000 here that came out of the market. Well, we don't need to say what every little bill is. Like, we could. We got a whole spreadsheet that says, where every single dollar was spent. So, we could answer this, but something big, or, like a deadline missed, we're sorry. We've tried to come out and explain, things that happen. And Sam has taken this a lot on his shoulders and said, it's his fault, even though he was told a certain thing, but it falls on his head as the boss, essentially.
Pete, earlier when I was reading that kind of post there, and I finished it off with the amount of projects that have just really dissolved and are gone now. I think it's a testament to really see, like, we kind of really, I hope we're at the tail end of this bear market, but it just seems to me like we're kind of growing out of that, and the market's going to do what the market's going to do. I mean, Lucro is a prime example. EverGrow is a prime example that the market's kind of like you're looking and you're seeing red days, and we're going up. Obviously, a lot of that is the anticipation of something big like LunaSky coming out, and I understand that. But I see more of that in our future. That BNB may go one direction. If it goes up, great. If it goes down, well, that's just the way it is. But I think we're going to continue to pull ahead and differentiate ourselves from other crypto projects, and I'm really looking forward to that because I've always believed that's where we were going anyway. But to see it happen, I think it's going to feel really good.
I agree with that. I think we're on that path. We just have to stay focused. We have to stay humble, and we have to keep working hard. I think we're absolutely on that path, Steve.
So I was going to ask you earlier when we were talking about organization, how do you stay organized? What are some tools that you use that really kind of help you stay on track and organized?
His name is Cody. That's his name.
That's a great question. Yeah. They use me for that. No, for me personally, one of the first things is take notes. It's important to take notes for a lot of different reasons because you can't expect to try to remember everything you come across or you hear. Taking notes is a great first step to being organized. You take notes, you organize those notes, and you plan them in order of priority. So that's one of the first things that I'm always doing, and that's an everyday thing. It becomes a part of your lifestyle. You take notes on things. I have a great memory too, and I'm not trying to toot my horn. I do. I have like a crazy, weird, good memory, but I've learned too, and this carries over my professional day-to-day, career that taking notes is very important. Being organized in that manner, it's like kind of a step one. So that's where it starts for me.
Do you ever leave those notes just laying around, just kind of around the house? Or...
Those notes are all digital. Steve, we live in the internet now. Nobody writes anything down anymore.
Except me. Except me.
Paul.
I do. I have books, like books upon books of just I write in them. I mean, I do keep notes on my computer, like more long-term stuff. My short-term stuff, I literally have like these little, like books take to school. What are they called? Like not a binder, but like a book I just write in, and when it runs out, I buy another one.
He's got an awesome Trapper Keeper from '96. He still keeps up with these things. I got to commend him on it. It's got Razor Ramon on it. It's really cool. I like it.
But I got the long-term stuff on the computer, spreadsheets, and I keep notes like that. But Cody's like he's a visual note taker. I'm more of a writing thing, but Cody reminds he is the organization part of it, and he said make sure you upload this to this folder, and we got a big folder big Google Drive where we all can go into, and Cody made that up real nice and everything for us.
Yeah,
so you keeps us on track with that.
You got to keep maintenance on these things, Steve. As the organizational, manager in a sense, it's like you have to always keep the upkeep. It's just like having a car, or having anything, right? You have to do the upkeep, or things start getting out of whack, and then you end up with, instead of 2 things to maintain to fix, you've got 15 things, and then stuff starts getting really, really messy. So, taking notes is important, and then categorizing is really important. You got to, you could take notes all day long, but if you're not able to simultaneously categorize those types of things, you don't really know what things you need to address when and how to address them. And the goal is not only to make sure you're not missing any details, but also to be as efficient as you can be when you go to address certain things, when you go to take care of a particular item on your list or whatever, or when you go to reiterate a conversation you had and you're having to relay information. The goal there too is to cut down on unnecessary banter. Like you can have a meeting for an hour, and address all the points, or you can have a meeting for 3 hours and it just kind of be an off the cuff conversation. So those are okay, and they happen too, and those are great for roundtables and brainstorming and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, starting out simply by making sure that you have documentation, you're categorizing your documentation, and then you're maintaining that stuff over periods of time so that it doesn't get out of whack, out of sorts. So that's kind of my thing. I'm that guy. So I can't say kind of. I'm very much that guy. That is very much my thing. That is very much what I do here behind the scenes. So there you go.
And it works for you, so that's great.
Like we talked about last week, everybody's really got, a very specialized set of skills, and that's what works so well with all of us together, and that's why we gel so well. I mean, on the surface, we're all pretty different people. If like you met us all on the streets, you probably would think, and I've thought about this before, Paul, I love thinking about this, like, I wonder if like none of this ever happened, if we just like met on the streets, would we get along, would we be friends, stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, I think so, because it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, we may be pretty opposite in a lot of aspects of our life, but like pieces of a puzzle, man, it fits together. We gel well, we work well together, and everybody's got a pretty unique set of skills, and that goes through the whole staff, from helpers all the way up to Sam. So yeah.
Before I go into my next question, I wanted to give a shout out to EverGrow Man, because he posted earlier today that he wanted to do a bit of support at the launch of the LunaSky NFT. So we traveled to Birmingham today to film part 11, but due to bad weather, it was tough going. Birmingham, we will be back very soon to finish the job. I hope you did not get drenched too bad, EverGrow Man. Thank you so much for giving it a effort. I saw a couple of pictures you posted there. Thank you. I really, really appreciate it. And hope we get back out there soon. It sounds like the weather's kind of nasty there, right? So I saw kind of a weather forecast, and it didn't look pretty for a few days. So,
wow. I don't mean to derail us here, but just one thing you said. I mean, it seems like the weather everywhere is kind of nasty. Is it just me, or are you noticing that too? It's just like, I don't know if it's just this year, but the weather is just gross all over the place.
yeah, I mean, I'm kind of spoiled where I'm at, but I think they were saying that ocean temps broke a record. And I don't know how they measure those, honestly, if it's an average or what.
Yeah.
But
It's wild. I'm kind of in that Tornado Alley area, and it's just like, I feel like this year I'm seeing exponentially more storms. Like it's just constantly storming here right now, and we're having massive windstorms or tornadoes here. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I'm on the East Coast. It hits Cody, and then it hits me on the East Coast. So yeah, Cody, we don't get the tornadoes and stuff like that, but we get, really bad thunderstorms, and it rains a lot. And it has been doing that a whole lot. Just storm in the
most of those
afternoon.
systems come from west to east. Not all of them, but yeah, you're right. I do see a lot of them because I'm from Dallas, and like my family's still in Dallas. A lot of times it'll get them, and it'll get me here in Memphis, and then keep going east. Pretty wild. I'm just seeing a ton of weird weather this year.
I think Frank NFT's from, is he New Zealand or Australia? He was saying that it's been crazy hot. Crazy hot. Even Mario, I think you said last week or the week before, the weather was just like kind of just really just unbearable.
Yeah, it's weird.
I'm sitting in the middle of tornado warnings right now, so and what you're saying about what you just said, Steve, Arizona, they are just baking, and people are falling over from heat stroke and that with 115 and up temperatures on the sidewalks.
Oh, I saw that. They're having them in New Mexico, right? Are having like record-breaking temperatures for long periods of time. Like it's been this temperature over this many of days. That's a 100-year record breaker type thing. Pretty wild.
And
Dangerous.
trash cans melting. Can you imagine?
I'm in Maryland, and so since I started working for EDC, I spent a lot of time inside. And the other day, I didn't open the door outside, and they go, "Don't go outside; it's too hot." And I was like, "Okay." They're like, "No, really, you can't breathe." And I was like, okay, whatever. And it's hot here in Maryland, getting 95, 100 degrees, whatever. Open the door, and I actually went on my phone and looked at it, and I opened the door. You literally couldn't breathe. There was a warning, everyone to stay indoors. Literally, it hit you like a ton of bricks. It was just humid, hot, and literally it felt like the air was so thick that I'm only or old. I mean, 40 years old is old to some people, young to some other people. But it was literally hard to breathe. I shut that door, came back inside, and it was actually a whole thing. And I live 30 minutes above DC, so it's not like I live in Arizona. It was that hot here.
Paul's birthday is this month, everybody. He's going to be 41,000 years old. So
Oh my
be
God.
sure to give him a congratulations.
Oh, it'll be 5 days. Ugh. I hate my birthday.
41,000. Man, you've been around a while. You saw Sabretooths, right?
I know, right? It really, it doesn't, God, it's so weird with age. I know we all feel it, but it's, think just yesterday, I think I was like, 25, but, and I had hair, and now I don't have hair, and it's so weird, times your life go by. It's like patches of 5 years, and it changes every 5 years. This time 5 years ago, I was, working construction and doing this, and 5 years later, I'm in crypto. Very weird.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was thinking about that too. I just, turned 40 last month, and it's like, whoa, wait a second. I'm 40 years old now. I think it's awesome. Like, I love it. I've never been of the mindset to kind of negatively humanize that next decade or so of my life. But it is interesting because, me and my fiance were talking, I think yesterday about this, how we were like, well, do you remember being like, we're talking about the kids. We're like, do you remember being a teenager? I'm like, yeah, I do. I remember a lot of it. She's like, I don't remember much. And I'm like, really? Why? She said, I don't know. Like, I remember little fleeting moments of it, but I'm like, yeah, I guess it's a long time ago now. Lots happened since then.
Do you feel like the experience of going into crypto was the same for you? Like, 5 years ago you were doing this, and all of a sudden now you're in crypto, and you're like, does it feel that way too?
Yeah, definitely. Like there, it was just all of a sudden one day, just like everybody out there, we're like watching YouTube videos and like, of course I'd heard of crypto. I've got some buddies who had been like into Bitcoin since the early days, but never paid much attention to it. And then, 20 for me, I guess around 18 or so, started like watching crypto videos on YouTube here and there, and then off to the races, bought my first coin, and then eventually saw Crypto Control's EverGrow video, which was within like the first 7 days of EverGrow launch. Bought EverGrow right there on launch. I had just enough money to get like a little bitty bag. It started out with a nice little tiny bag that I had for a very, very long time, and was thrilled, and I had bought some altcoins, I guess you could call them that, before EverGrow too. But yeah, it was just out of nowhere all of a sudden. It was like just woke up one day in crypto.
Kind of wild, huh?
Yeah, and it's like it absorbs your whole life, if you let it. I mean, it just depends how much you want to be into it. Are you a hobbyist with it? Are you working in it? Are you an investor? Are you kind of a little bit of everything? So just woke up one day in crypto and learning and trying to soak up as much knowledge as I can about it, and about Web3 along the way now that we're here, and pretty wild.
Did you start on Discord as well, or just kind of help it out?
Yeah. So I'll give you the quick story here. So I bought my EverGrow. I think it was sometime between 7 and 10 days after launch. So right around there, about a week. Saw Crypto Control's video. I was on my lunch break at work. I'm like, okay. So I bought a little bit of EverGrow right then, hopped right in Discord. I'll look up my very first Discord message at some point. I do occasionally. It just said something like, hey, everybody, I'm really happy to be here. So I hopped in just as a community member, and I'm a night owl. I've been a night owl my whole life. So I was always like in Discord, very active in the late nights, and uh, me and some other folks just were there and just we're helping people. And then one of the mods asked me to be an educator at the time. That was what we call a helper now. It's like your first step is to become a helper. So I became a helper, or a educator as it's called back then, and went from there, and just went from being an educator, a helper, all the way up to where I am now. And that was the very first week of that Discord existing. So yeah.
Very cool story. I've heard Paul tell his story, and I knew you were in Discord a little bit, but I didn't really know the kind of whole history of it. It's kind of cool.
Well, and like back then too, and Paul can attest to this, because the further you kind of get into the management side of it, the less active sometimes you are in those things, because we're always doing stuff on the back end with each other, working with other people. But I love popping in Discord. Discord is my home. Kind of like Telegram is some of our staff's like home, or even some of the communities home. It's like that's where I started, was Discord, and so there's a very special place in my heart for it, and I love being in Discord, and I spent countless hours in Discord, and a lot of the stuff that you may still see remnants of, like the night shift, like that was all started back in the day with me and a couple folks, and like yeah, so like that was my whole life, was living in Discord all day every day. Just like, it's interesting to watch this evolution, because it's like, okay, you start out as a helper and you're in Discord all the time. You become a mod and an admin and you're there in Discord, but you're helping like other folks come up, right? And then you move into a different area of the company. You might be more back end role, like ops and management or whatever. And Discord is now in really good hands with the admins that have worked their way up from just being a member to being a helper to being an admin. So it's amazing, because you look at folks like Hyper and Drake and folks like Hawkish, who really predominantly run it. And then you got folks like Nicola and Marios and all the guys in Noah and all the guys over in Telegram. Same story for them, right? It's like they came up and then eventually they pass off different aspects of it. They're running it and then they pass it off to the next people because they've moved on to have to do other things. It's really cool. I like thinking about that occasionally. It's like a nostalgic feeling.
Yeah,
great people there.
I went into Discord because I was made a Telegram mod and there were so many of us, and I wanted to stand out more. Like it could go back in time. I wouldn't say that then. I was like, I was like, man, I want to stand out more in EverGrow. I want to get Sam's attention. I want to kind of, be noticed more, right? And there was Praveen started Discord, Praveen and Jacob, and I looked over that. I know there was a SafeMoon Discord because I came from the SafeMoon community, but I wasn't really familiar with Discord. But I was like, how can I differentiate myself? I look over in Discord, there was like 5 people in there. All I did was say hi. And then I asked Jacob, hey, can I go over there and, make Discord better and make files and all this stuff? And he just gave me the go ahead. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to show them, because I know there was a lot of people looking like Discord and not Telegram. They just perverted something over the other. And that's when, me and Frizz jumped over there, and then Rabbit, and then eventually Cody, CP. Everyone kind of rose up and kind of started creating all the files. So it's kind of like I was like the original. I mean, Praveen and Jacob started, they opened it up. And then we built it up, but literally within 4 or 5 days, Cody was a helper, like literally that fast. We just kept bringing anyone that raised their hand that wanted to help. We were like, yeah, come and help. And it was never ran like Cody did. It never was ran like I was the boss. I never ran it like, okay, come to me and then I'm going to figure this out. And it was ran as a group and as a community. I never stood there like, oh, I'm in charge or this, that, the other thing. It was always a community and a group decision. The people at the top, there was always like 4 or 5 of us, and we make a decision together. And it's actually still kind of ran that way, but passed down.
Well, interesting thing about that statement he's saying, y'all, is that's essentially kind of how the company's run too. It's run functionally, right? Which is very different. And I think works really well. And what that really means is like, there's not a vice president of LunaSky. There's not a vice president of Atlas Wallet, right? It's functional. So there are a lot of groups and people that have hands in it. You have like those of us that are running one aspect of a build and those of us running another aspect of the build, all the while communicating with each other, keeping each other in on the loop, and making decisions together when need be as well too. So it's kind of the same thing with the company as a whole, functionally run like that, which is great. And that works really well, especially for a startup. Fun fact too about Discord, and same with Telegram, the evolution of it. Like what most people don't realize, how many times it's been rebuilt. Yeah. So like you had the first Discord, right? Pops up, you got some channels, etc. You got some permissions, etc. And then eventually you got to start. This goes back to my conversation about organizational maintenance over time. You have to constantly maintenance this thing and build it, right? You don't just build it, leave it, and it's good for 10 years. You have to constantly build, maintenance, and evolve your platforms, Discord, Telegram, etc., your company in a sense too, because if you don't, then it just gets behind, and then you start having speed bumps and things become inhibited, services, a number of things. So it's really cool to think back about how many times and how many people have been involved with the evolution and rebuilding of things like Telegram and Discord and Reddit, I imagine, too, for EverGrow. It's like Discord itself has been rebuilt, I think, I'm going to say technically 3 times. The first build, the first launch of Discord, the first put together of it, then the first initial, which included like the first initial setup from the original mod and admin team. And then the next folks that came in, like myself and other folks that came up, we revamped and, appropriated or added or changed or enhanced particular channels, permissions, etc., and just abilities of the platform. And then the next group came along, right? So after this got passed on from, let's say, like me and other community managers, CP and Rocket and everybody at the time, to Hyper and Hawkish and Drakefist and all those guys, just like over on Telegram with Nicola and Marios and Noah and their whole team. It's so cool to think about that because it takes that much work, everybody. It's not something you just turn on one day and you just leave it and you just go in there and chat. The reason that you're all able to go in there and chat and do the things you do is because it is constantly maintained 24/7 all the time on the back end. And there's a lot to be said for that. Hey, while we're talking about it, thank you to everyone that stays on it, from the helpers to the admins, because without them, the platform would fail. It requires 24/7 monitoring and maintenance. So, yeah, there's a lot to that. I thought that was cool to talk about. We've never really talked about that,
Yeah, it comes also, and people are, a lot of, the inside already know this, is that the people that have, are in there and have rebuilt it, and they've all stepped up. I know I get random people in my messages all the time, and they're just random people looking for a job. And they say, I've been a mod in 4 other companies, or I can be a community manager. I got paid this much. I'm willing to come over there or whatever. And, well, I get so many of them on Telegram, whatever. I ignore them now. But everything in Discord and Telegram is people that have been in there as regular, community members, and then they move up and they show that they could be a good helper, a good educator. And then they've shown they move up, and you just kind of moved up and the torch is passed. So it's never just someone hired to fix it up. Someone just kind of takes the reins and does it. Very cool to see.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of my favorite aspects about that, Paul, is nobody knows how to do all this stuff usually when they come in. But my favorite aspect is the willingness to learn, and I love that when someone says to me, or maybe I say to someone else, hey, I don't know how to do that. That's a great question, but I'm happy to find out. And we do it, that's what it's about. And I love that. It's like the same thing goes with Discord. It's like, well, how do you get these bots? How do we make new bots? How do we just take care of this ourselves instead of having to have an outside source that we delegate this to? Well, we have to learn. So we need to invest our own personal time to do that. And everybody does that kind of thing. And that's what I love about it. Seeing somebody come up and take the initiative to learn how to do something they didn't know how to do, just to be there and help and do it. And I love that,
It's amazing to see how much it's changed over time, like you were saying. And it's just an amazing amount of resources. There's probably no question that you could ask that hasn't been asked by somebody else at one point. And there's usually, if it's asked enough times, there's a dedicated section to where you can find the answer to that question.
Yeah, and that's a great example of what we're talking about, just the ongoing evolution and maintenance of these platforms and the importance of that, Like over on Telegram, they do such a fantastic job. Obviously, Telegram is a very fast-paced environment, a lot of communication going on 24/7, and that's what it's known for, and that's why it works so well with the way it's built. But none of that would happen if it wasn't for all the guys over there running it. And that goes back to the very beginning, from the first team, like Praveen and Jacob and them, and Frank, and then everyone else, Nicola, Marios, and then all the folks they've had with them, Noah, James, and there's a big list of people. And again, I always say this: if I don't mention your name, hey, it's not because I don't. It's not purposeful. It's that there's a lot of you, but we do recognize it, and thank you all. None of that stuff would flow the way it does without them. So thank you, everybody.
Well, here's another thing, not just about the Telegram community itself, but the Telegram, the Telegram app itself. So, when you partnership, like 90, maybe 90% of our partners are when you make a group, they all are on Telegram. Our Simplex group with partners, and we're all on Telegram. Now it starts by email, and then once the devs get in, everyone's from a different part of the world that literally, and it's not us saying, hey, we use Telegram. No, it's them telling us, okay, make a group, or they make a group on Telegram and add us to it. So I have a separate folder for, Atlas, and I got a separate for all the, partners in Atlas on Telegram. And I got a separate folder for obviously community, things. And I got a separate folder for just my friends or whatever. But, LunaSky, there's not, there's our devs aren't on Telegram, but those devs like to use Discord actually. So it's those companies that tell us what they actually want to use, like the communication. But most of it is actually on Telegram because you have to work with people all around the world, and that's pretty much the easiest one. Is that you got Discord a little bit, a lot, and then obviously Zoom is a big one too. When you want to, they can't use Telegram, they use Zoom if you want to share your screens and stuff. That people that don't use the Discord, but Telegram is big for that in not meetings, but ongoing chats, about, oh, this isn't working. Can you look at this? What about this ongoing long-term stuff?
Yeah, globally, Telegram is the most popular for sure, outside of the North American region, right? And maybe the South American region. I don't know. I'd have to look at the data. But yeah, Telegram is, I never knew a lot about Telegram till getting into crypto. And then I realized, like, oh, Telegram, it's a thing. Whoa, wait a second. It's like a global thing. So Telegram is huge,
I'm wondering,
takes a lot to run it, and those guys do a fantastic job.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to go ahead. I know Drake loves to be praised, so you're more than welcome to let's heap the praise on Drakefist.
Drakefist, he's in the North American region, and I can tell you where, everybody. But he's a great guy. I just want to say that he's a fantastic human being. Like that guy a lot. He's very sassy. Yeah, we love you. He's very sassy, and he. If you converse with him for the first time, don't be offended. I'm just going to say that. Take a grain of salt, right? Take a joke. No, he's right. He's one of those folks we've talked a lot about recently because, the guy just puts in so much volunteer time, man, with the company. It's like, and there's so many of them. We've talked about some of the new folks that have come up too recently, like Shy William Blake. There's a ton of them. I'm sorry. I want to mention all the names, but again, none of this could be a thing if it wasn't for them, because like we can't be in Discord all the time now. We can't be in Telegram all the time now. We can't. We just can't. But they can. They run it and they manage it and they maintain it, and they've learned how to do these things, and they've spent their own time developing new skill sets to be able to do those kind of things. Why? Well, because they believe in the project, and that's how invested they are into it. So. It's a lot to say for that, and I commend it a great deal.
And with the amount of work that goes in there, I think our community doesn't really necessarily have to deal with the same kind of FUD that other communities do, and a lot of that is because FUD kind of thrives in this kind of information vacuum. If they don't have the answers to what they're looking for, or they don't get an answer, then FUD usually follows.
Oh yeah, that's a great point too, and it brings up the thought in my head about diplomacy. The way that everyone here is able to interact and converse with the community in a very diplomatic way is astounding. I love it, and it makes me really proud because it's like when I look into chat, and I'm always reading everything. Like everybody knows that about me. Like I do pretty much read everything, whether I'm there and commenting or not. Like I see it, and I love it. It's a great feeling to watch, like, mods and helpers and admins converse with somebody, be empathetic, be stern when they need to be, but all the while maintain diplomacy. Why? Well, because A, that's the way to be as a person, and B, they represent the company. It's important to represent the company in a positive light, but at the same time, we have to balance that fine line, like Paul was kind of talking about earlier, of protecting the company, but also being open-minded, being willing to debate about not so popular topics or not so popular opinions, so.
Very, very well
Hey,
said.
hey,
Absolutely.
Moon, go ahead. Moon's had his hand up a while. Hey, Moon, feel free to just interrupt us.
Oh yeah. No, you guys are fine.
Oh, you're kind of quiet, buddy.
Oh, you can't hear me?
You're very, very quiet.
And just like that, the moon has set.
He was gone.
Yeah, I
like
think
that.
he's got to drop out and come back in again.
I could barely hear him. It was like he was standing on the other side of the room or something.
Looks like
He's
the
had
name
a hand up a
changed,
while.
but the name changed of the platform, but the problems are the same.
Absolutely.
Twitter
There it
X.
is. I'm going to go ahead and bring him back up.
A
I like it
quiet
better.
moon is really an unusual thing too.
That's so funny, CWP said that, and I don't want to detract from MoonAndroid's question or comment, but me and my fiance were talking about the moon last night, and it is an unusual thing.
Go ahead and jump in, Moon, anytime.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Perfectly.
All right. Perfect. Yeah. I don't know what the heck happened. I've totally forgotten what I was gonna say.
Telegram?
Oh yes, Telegram. Thank you for that. Yes, Telegram. So you were right when you said that Telegram is such a much more fast-paced app environment. Do you remember when Lucro, the pre-sale and the launch first came out, the activity on Telegram? It was.
I do remember because I had to hop in on that live session. Remember that?
I think I even called for you at some point because it was absolutely freaking insane in there. If I remember correctly, it was about 10 messages per second. It was impossible to communicate at that point. Like the chat had to be muted. And that shows two things. First of all, yeah, a lot of people definitely use Telegram, far more even than Discord. Not anything against Discord, but it's just Telegram. It seems to be the new WhatsApp of the world, let's say. And second, it shows you guys' ability to marketing and build hype, because that was absolutely insane. I still remember it to this day.
That 8-hour time frame was one of the most stressful times that I've ever been with EverGrow. Cody was in Telegram dealing with the community, and Nicola was. I'm sure a lot of other people. And I was feeding them information. I was in the meeting with Sam and the devs, and literally it was all hands on deck. And we even brought in outside hands to figure out what was going on, why it was going on, and fixing the problem, whatever it was. But we're so into trying to fix it. And meanwhile, Cody and other people are trying to ask us what is going on. We're trying to relay information, but we don't know what's quite going on until it's done, all while everything's being messed up and a lot of people's money and blah, blah, blah. I mean, even Sam will tell you this, that was, Cody probably said the same thing. One of the most, that is my number one stressful time that day right there, because, so much was going on and so much was on the line. And we know what happened now, but Jesus Christ. Like, wow, that just
it was bad. It was bad. I can tell you that I was an active helper at that time, not so much anymore, but I was an active helper at the time on Telegram, and I was the most stressed I've ever been in my life. So I can't even imagine what it was for you two, and for Sam.
I remember that day very, very clearly. And I remember you specifically, and I'm going to talk about that in just a moment if I may. I'll keep it short. It goes back to, like, again, Paul could attest, like, I have this weird memory where I remember lots of little things and details. And so that day, couple things. Yeah, it was crazy. Everybody knows. Nicola's in Telegram on a live Telegram, thing, whatever it's called in Telegram live chat or whatever. He's trying to mitigate and manage the community over there who's just like losing it over the Lucro launch. There were bugs. There were some hiccups, right? Everybody remembers if you were there. Paul and Sam, like he said, were and some other folks were in a meeting with the devs at the time, getting it all resolved. Meanwhile, helpers, admins, mods, everybody the like is managing the community in their respective platforms, from Discord to Telegram to Reddit, etc. So like I'm bouncing around at that point I think I was a community manager still. I'm like bouncing around to all these platforms. I'm like, okay, Discord's somebody's got it. It's good. We're good. I can like get out of that live session for a minute. Let me go over to Telegram, because poor Nicola's over there just like valiantly defending the project and trying to manage and let people ask questions that are coming up and just absolutely losing it emotionally. Right. He's like over there diplomatically balancing it and just kind of, going through, taking care of it and trying to address people's concerns. And so I hop over there, and a couple things. I was in between going in the periodontist office. So I'm literally with my headphones on in the lobby, like talking in Telegram to these people who are flipping out. I mean, maybe even getting a little bit abusive, right? And then I go in, I come out, and I'm like in my car at that point. And I still have my headphones on. I come back to Telegram. It's still going on. Nicola's still in there fighting a good fight. And Moon, I remember you came up a few times. Matter of fact, you came up a few times, really helped with like de-escalating the situation and just kind of, talking to the public here with us. I thank you for that. I'll never forget it. Nicola, was in there for I think 8 hours that day. I was able to hop in for a few and help, and it was a wild day for sure.
To wrap it up, we launched, and there was a bug in the system and so we halted training or whatever. Training was only open for like 3 minutes, so ended up like pausing it so no one else. But people were mad for a couple of reasons. One, because they thought those maybe I think it was like 100 or 150 people that did buy thought they lost their money, and then other people were mad because they wanted to get in before everyone else. Because obviously the faster you get in, the more money you can, or the earlier you get in, obviously. So there was a big on that, but happy to say everything got resolved. Every single person got their money back. It wasn't a huge amount. I think one person was like $24,000, and then there was like 10,000, maybe 11,000 spread out over 100 people. We paid every single person back. Marius and Nicola were a big part in getting all that and me put together and getting that right to Sam so we could send everyone back their money. And then we launched again, I think 3 days later, perfectly, and had a really good launch. People got their money back, and then people actually got in when they could, and all done and perfect. So everyone helped out.
That was that was the only time I've ever seen Nicola absolutely lose his crap. Because there was so many people yelling. I mean, at some point it was ridiculous. There was people yelling into the microphone. They weren't even saying anything. They were just yelling in anger.
That's when I came over there. It was like that was in that moment. Yeah,
exactly, because that had been going for a little bit. And when I saw that, and I don't blame it on Nicola at all. He was 1,000% justified. I mean, Jesus, the man was taking hits left and right. And I saw that, I'm like, okay, this isn't going to work. So I ran and got Cody to come over with his, skills of calming everybody down and his, level voice and everything, which he did. But my God, it was so insane.
I forgot about one aspect of that, and Paul mentioned this a second ago. It was like after the fact, there were some folks that we offered a period of time to send back Lucro to, who had lost some Lucro for whatever reason during that bug issue. And we did. We honored that. And I think that's a big thing that a lot of people may not either know about or I forgot about. Like, we didn't just say, I'm sorry, it is what it is. Like, we allowed people to hit us up and say, hey, look, I didn't get this much. We investigated it for them and we sent it to them. And that took a lot of work, and a lot of people were involved with that. Nicola and Mario spent a lot of time double checking those wallet addresses and confirming those numbers for me. And then I took those numbers and sent them to Sam, and he paid them out. And that is a great aspect of kind of what we were talking about, to how the company works on a functional base. It was a total team effort, like Paul and Sam and folks were in that meeting to get the things resolved. After the fact, we had that come up where people were claiming that they didn't receive this much of the token. We said, well, you know what? We know there was a problem. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to honor we're going to honor this for you. We're going to give you what you didn't get. We spent the time investigating every single wallet. I probably still have that Excel document, and it was hundreds deep. This was I don't remember how long we kept it open. We kept it open and we made a public announcement about it. We said, hey, look, for the next blah, blah number of days or weeks, we will honor this for you. Just make sure to hit us up. We'll look up the addresses to confirm, and we'll send you what you don't have. Yeah, I think that's a huge call out, man. I haven't thought about that forever, Paul. You brought that up. I'm like, wow, like that's a really cool thing. I'm not trying to toot our own horn here, but
it's good to talk about.
It's
good to talk about these things. Sorry to interrupt, but it's good to talk about these things because it's the mistakes and when things don't go wrong that should come up, and we should discuss those things because although hard to discuss them, it is. Just look at the. Huh?
We made good on it, and
made good on it.
I'm not going to call projects out at all, but we have all seen that not happen. We've seen the exact same thing happen in other projects, and they did not make good on their people. We made good on those people, and it was a lot of work for everybody, and they deserved us to make good on it, and that's why we did.
And ultimately, that is all that matters. You make good on your promise. You fix. Mistakes happen. You fix the problem. Yes, it took some time. Everything takes time, but ultimately, everything got resolved. So mistakes happen, and again, like I said many times before, they will happen going forward. Expect mistakes. Expect them, but it's not about the mistakes. It's about how they're solved and how they are overcome, and that's just a great example of. Not just the community, not just the helpers, not just the mods, but the whole core team as well, working together to fix that and make everybody whole again. And I think that's a great story in itself.
Yeah, I forgot all about this, because it's so interesting to talk about this now because Steve, kind of to the point earlier in the conversation today where it's like, well, what was it like? Just like you came into crypto or whatever. All of this stuff has gone on. So many things have gone on that we're so focused on the now and moving forward that some of these important aspects we've been through have almost been forgotten about at this point. Like this aspect, like returning Lucro to everybody that didn't get it because of the bug on launch, that was a big thing, and I'm really glad we did that. And we should have done that. And we did. We made good on it, We even had some people hit us up even later. I dealt with all the communications of it, right? So all the communications came in from people. I addressed them all. Marios and Nicola built the doc, managed investigating all the wallet addresses for that. Paul and Sam had kicked all this off from the start with the devs when the issue came up. So there was like this whole functional system of how this process went down over time. And there were even people that hit us up after multiple communications when we said the cutoff time frame, right? We said, you know what? We got you. I know that you hit us up after we said the cutoff time frame was done. Let me investigate it. We'll see what we can do for you. And we helped them out because they deserved it, and maybe they were late to follow up on their own investment. But you know what? We didn't want to penalize them for that.
Well, there's also some people. Well, you were the investigator. You were the people they got messages from. Yep. There's also a lot of messages that people send and say, I didn't get my Lucro, where's it at? And they didn't do anything. They were just trying to get free Lucro, but you have to match everything to wallets and do that. And that's where Marios and Nicholas came in to say that. And then to match, the wallets up. And if people said that there was wallets, so everything, because everything, the blockchain doesn't lie. So you just can't go on someone's word, like they could say, oh, I bought, 5,000 of this, whatever, but it was really 2,500. So we can go back to them and Cody could say, no, I got the transaction right here. This is your transaction, and we'll give you this much in Lucro at that price that you bought it at. Or no, it's not at that price. It was at the launch price. It was we actually
we made a deal with those. Yeah. We made a deal with a specific.
Here's the receipt, baby.
Yeah. It's interesting, Paul, that you said that too, because it's like you're right. There was a lot of that stuff going on too. We had to investigate and spend time doing that. So like Nicola and Marios would spend extra time investigating those. I was the one who had to communicate to people. So there were some hard conversations with some people. It's like, hey, we're going to refund you at this price. And some people say, well, that's not acceptable, this and that. And I'd say, well, I certainly recognize where you're coming from with that. Here's what we are able to do for you. And, ultimately at the end of the day, they got some Lucro out of the deal, and they deserved it. But yeah, there was a lot of people trying to get free Lucro too. And it didn't happen. And thanks to the team,
Oldest trick in the book.
Cody, there's another reason to bring this up, you and Paul, that I appreciate very much. And that is it shows the ethics of the company and the people that are involved in building this ecosystem. And that's a story that needs to be told over and over again, I believe.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I'm glad to have this conversation now because honestly, everybody, I forgot about this. And it's not that I forgot about it forever. I forgot about it because we're so busy with here and now, This was an integral part of the evolution of EverGrow. Like we launched Lucro and shit hit the fan, What did we do? We jumped on it. We did everything we could. There was definitely some pains out there and, we addressed it, owned up to it and did what we could to take care of it.
From Sam on down, our reputation is on the line. And I think we all, from all the way from myself to whoever is involved in EverGrow at any kind of level, if, I would have been, I don't think I could have, went forward. If Sam would have been like, no, we're not paying, people back there, sorry, they messed up. Just, yeah, we messed up, but they shouldn't have bought. I probably wouldn't have been okay with that, So we all share those same ethics together, all the way down to Marius, to Nicola, that we're doing things that, we need to pay these people back and make it right and a reputation so we can say, yeah, that mistake happened, but we made everything right again. And it's not like, that money came out of the marketing wallet. People, they were willing to, they bought the Lucro and they got it at a certain price and we gave it to them, just like they bought it.
Well, it's good. To interject really quick, I remember something now about this, though, specifically, and this actually wasn't an EverGrow fault. What happened is someone replicated the launch before it actually launched. Remember now? It's like someone scam launched their own thing really quick, or they did something. I don't remember the terminology. It's been a lot's gone on since then. I have to look back at it, but we didn't actually mess up the launch, but we still made good on it for those that accidentally bought a non-Lucro token that was represented as Lucro. That's what happened. Remember that now, Paul?
We opened up trading or something, and someone else made a liquidity pool before we did. Did or something.
Exactly.
And it should have been done the other way around. I don't think it was a bug. It's a thing in it wasn't pancake swaps. It was a problem with pancake swap, but it's just the way the system operates, which is in a very weird way that just doesn't make sense. And, of why someone can open up a liquidity pool before you even, launch the contract. It was very weird. I got to figure exactly what happened, but something along those lines happened. Someone
it wasn't like the result. I said earlier, and I got to retract that. It wasn't the result of a bug or mistake we had. It was that we opened up, trading was opened up through the process of getting this prepared to launch. And then Pancake allows you to be able to go in and add liquidity. And somebody did because they knew what they were doing. And then people started buying because they're watching. They're watching for the launch. They started buying and it wasn't the right token. So, but we said, hey, well, tell you what, you spent $100. We'll give you free Lucro up to the amount of $70. That's a pretty fair thing considering that we didn't actually do anything wrong there. But you saw it, you thought it was us, and you bought it. And I'll tell you what, we're going to help you out in whatever way we can. And we did. And I think that's cool,
I don't know how many projects would actually do that.
Yeah, I think the pre-sale price was 0.02, and that's what it was going to launch at. So it was going to launch at 0.04. So we decided, or 304, 404, whatever it was. So we decided to give everyone tokens at 405. I think that was that was the right call. It was the right call.
Steve, let me just say this real quick to answer your question, Steve. As far as what other projects would do this, I am yet to find another one other than EverGrow. So,
well, I mean, those people are important to us. On the surface level, did they make the mistake? Are they responsible for what they buy? Absolutely. Beyond that surface level, does it mean something to us? 100%. And, you know, them being made whole is more important to us than them making a mistake. We're all human. We all make mistakes. We're all trying to buy Lucro at that point. And when it popped up, you know, it just wasn't the legitimate Lucro token we had launched yet. So we wanted to do something for them. And 99% of those people I conversed with about it were happy with that. They were grateful, you know.
They were so happy. Like, they were like, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this. I think it was like 2 people. And it was like for like $300, something like that. That was like, I should get it for free, but you know, it's only for a couple $100. But if you do it for one person, you got to do it for another. So sorry, buddy, you don't get it for free. But like literally everyone else was just, they couldn't believe what we were doing. And to us, it was like, how could you not believe it? Like, of course we're going to do this. And not talking about me and Cody, talking about EverGrow as a whole, all of us. So, you know, all the way down from, you know, obviously Sam makes the decisions all the way down. They were so, and Cody was answering all the questions and dealing with all that. And actually, Cody had helpers that was helping him through all the, you know, I think it was Nickel and Marius, you know, through all the messages come in.
Those guys were phenomenal, because like, as those guys were doing all the tech work on the back end, you know, and I was doing all the service work up front, and it never would have gone down as smooth as it did if it wasn't for everybody there, you know, from Paul and Sam to Nicholas and Mario's. It was really an interesting time, you know. I hadn't thought about that in a while.
I would go through, they would do it, I would go through and make it green because I checked it out, and Nicola checked it out and made it a different color. It was literally triple checked and then checked by Sam, and then I even think Cody checked it, you know, and then we gave it to Sam at the very end.
Yeah, I got checked by me, and then I sent it to Sam, and he would, so, and then I would let them know, like, hey, your funds are on the way, fantastic, or hey, this is what you get, or sometimes, like I said, maybe 1% of those things were undesirable conversations, well, undesirable for the person I was conversing with, but, you know, I mean, hey, it doesn't hurt to ask, right? There was a few that were definitely like, that's it, that's all I'm getting. It's like, yeah, that's what we can do for you, you know.
There was another thing that hit right after that, because I got caught in it, and that was a bunch of fake contract numbers on Telegram.
I remember that. That was bad. Yep.
They changed the numbers in the middle, right, so that it looked like the contract, but it wasn't.
I don't remember specifically.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so the Telegram, basically the general Telegram chat of the official EverGrow chat was being flooded with fake contract address, like not Lucro's at all, some other fake contract address, like again and again, just flooded, copy pasted, like continuously. Like, how do you even, like, that's just straight hacking right there. I don't even know how you do that.
It was a bot attack. Yeah, it was a bot attack. Mario's could probably speak more about it if he can.
How was the bot like bypassing because the chat was locked? Like, that was wow.
I don't know. You have to ask Mario's or Nicola or Noah. They know more about it than me. I'm just guessing that it had to be some kind of bot. I have no idea.
They usually rename, you know, that account name to you know, pain contract, and then they put a honeypot contract or whatever. So, you know, someone who doesn't know just uses that and goes and buys it and loses his money. So they have like these stupid ways to somehow get your money.
Yeah, but how was
they
it?
rename.
How was it they were able to get into Telegram and put it over and over and over and over again after getting? It was a bot, right?
It's multiple accounts with the same name, and they were adding them in the group.
But Mario, I remember the chat was locked because it was so many people that it had to pause everything, and they were still able to do that for a while. I mean,
no. Is there, like, if you join a group, it will show like a small message that you know, Marco joined. You know, that message is by default from Telegram. So these accounts, their account name was this, like, Lucro contract.
So joining,
they were
and
named,
leaving really fast, basically.
Yeah, so they were joining like different bot accounts with a named contract, and their scam contract, whatever. So you will see the user joined message, which is by default.
Very interesting. I don't even know how that's even possible.
Yeah, is casual Telegram,
So basically, there weren't actual messages. Sorry, Marius. There weren't actual messages being written by someone. It was someone's name or an army of bots, you could say, and the name of that account or person is the contract address. And by default, when they join the server, it shows that they just joined the server and shows their name. So by doing that really, really fast, you can spam that. I see. Wow, that is smart.
Yeah. Yep.
Cody, I don't know how you're doing on time there, but I was wondering if you had time to maybe give us a little bit of a LunaSky update. The last I heard, it's back in the hands of the dev. Is that right?
Yeah, great timing actually, because I've got to go here, so this is perfect. Let's do a quick LunaSky update. Yeah, going really well, as it has been. We are on the last sprint, as you all know. What that really means is we've got a few items left in the in progress category. I'll give you kind of the breakdown of the workflow. So when we submit issues, they go into a category called backlog. Those things are all the backlog stuff is determined what goes to do, and then from there it goes into in progress. Once in progress, that just means what it sounds like. The devs are working on correcting that stuff. That goes into a category called internal QA. That's where the devs double check what they believe has been resolved. Then they send it to the QA category. That is where myself and Rocket sign off on it, final sign off. So we've got a few things left in progress and some things in internal QA, waiting for them all, obviously, to get to QA, signing off, and then we're launching. So things are looking really good. This week's meetings have been great, very productive. We have, of course, submitted some issues we came across this week. Paul, Sam, Rocket, and myself had our meeting last weekend. So all of that stuff is being addressed or already addressed. And yeah, we're right there. It's really cool. I don't want to get into too many specifics, but I'll tell you what, let me open up the management app that we use. I told you all a little bit about it last week, I believe. It's just a project management app similar to Jira or Reiki. We use Linear. So right now, let me see, maybe I'll pick a few items I can just tell you about, right? Like what's in progress, what's in QA for me and Rocket to sign off on. Let's see. Oh, I do have some good news too. IPFS has been experiencing its own issues intermittently for the past few weeks, and this is regionally affected. And all that means is you could be in a particular region where things like your DNS are not updating, let's say, images to an IPFS server. Not a lot we can do about that, but we still have some aspects of it we can control, we being the developers. So we have seen some really good progress this week with it. And what that means in layman's terms, I've seen images not loading on the platform to loading, right? We're not going to launch with stuff not loading, of course. So I think that the IPFS issues are almost behind us, which is great. And Wallet Connect stuff seems to be great. We're not having any trouble with V2 stuff. Side note about that, the website. Look, everybody, per request, I have removed Wallet Connect on the website, as you may have seen if you've gone there. The reason being is we're looking into a couple things we may or may not want to do with Wallet Connect in regard to Atlas Wallet on the website. Wink, wink. I'll leave it at that. So if you do go to the website for the first time and you haven't been there in a little bit, just understand that there's some under construction stuff right now with Wallet, anything that you would connect to, swap or dashboard. You still can input your wallet address on the dashboard just to see your pending rewards or your all-time rewards. You can't claim and you can't use the swap right now, but we'll have that back up and running soon. Like I said, we're looking into a couple of things on the back end where we may want to, that could relate to Atlas Wallet and swap stuff. So we'll let you know about that. But Wallet Connect V2 stuff on LunaSky is performing great. No problems. I'm not having any issues. We're not having any issues whether it comes to Wallet Connect V2, QR code scan, and browser extensions, right? So some people love to use like MetaMask browser extension, for example. Some people like myself and Rocket are big time Wallet Connect users via mobile. and others are just QR scan connect users, which is also wallet connecting too, but through QR scan. So all of that is working fantastically. It's nice because like everything will be great, and then all of a sudden like nothing's working, you know, stuff like that comes up, which we've been through time and time again. So that stuff's looking good. Some of the remaining stuff here that I have in, let's say, in progress or in the internal Q&A is going to be UI and UX stuff. What are some of those things? Let's see if I can maybe tell you a couple specifics. It's kind of hard because it's like, it's not that I can't tell you what these are. It just, without context, it doesn't make a lot of sense. You know what I mean? UI wise, yeah, there's some little tweaks we wanted to make visually that'll make it easier to understand a how-to area or aspect of the platform. UX stuff, me and Rocket have been so deep in this whole thing for so long that like we could easily uncover UX issues all day long, just like Sam could uncover UI issues all day long because he just has such a keen eye for that stuff. So there's a few UX things too we're working on getting taken care of. They're all in progress right now. The solutions are developed for them. We're just waiting for them to be finished and pushed up for our sign off. So
I can explain something like
sure.
Like on an NFT page, like if you have, let's say you have a lot of your NFT has been sold 15 times and as a list it goes down. Instead of browsing down the whole page, we just want to be able to browse just the offers instead of the rest of the page moving. So, you know, it's something like that needs to be fixed. So instead of the whole page, you have to browse down the whole page just to see the history. You want to have an internal scroller so you can see the history just in that little box so the entire page doesn't move. I signed on the other day, this was last week, and my profile picture didn't show. Now it's showing, like Cody was saying, the IPPF thing not showing, but now it is working. So it's literally down to these little tiny things that need to be fixed. Everything else is working great. You can launch a contract and launch your NFTs. All that is fine. Wallet Connect is literally these little tiny issues. As soon as they're done, it's going to be pushed out.
Yeah, and just to give a little context to the first thing Paul was talking about, stuff like page scrolling and internal scrolling. You know what I think a lot of people don't realize on websites is how much of that stuff exists, and they don't realize it because the website's intuitive, right? It's easy to use. Like you don't recognize these things when you go to a place and you just automatically can intuitively know what to do without really knowing the platform. So there are little aspects like that we're just finalizing the tweaks on. On the back end and just kind of deep internal UX stuff. Yeah, it's like finalizing a couple of batch upload things that we wanted to test. We've got that squared away. Finalizing some things between like auctions versus sales versus maybe just being minted and not actually listed. There's a lot of back-end functionality stuff there. We've spent a ton of time this week just triple testing. And I've uncovered a few things. I'm like, you know what? Okay, it's taken this long to get to this point, and I don't like how this functionally behaves when I do this. So we're addressing those last minute things. Why not? Because, well, these are things that should be there pre-launch. Post-launch, we've already got our first list of post-launch items. What are some of those items? Maybe I could talk about some of the post-launch integrations. Well, I think one of the things we're going to look into, and this was actually mentioned in the, here we go, Steve, you ready? This was mentioned in the Crator Corpse chat earlier today. And it was about like, hey, could you buy like a collection outright? Well, no, you can't because that's just not how it works. But I'd like you to be able to. So that's certainly an integration that we'd like to have very, very early on after launch. Buy just a collection outright, right? Amongst a couple of other like really important things, which I won't get into yet. But yeah, we've already got our list of integrations post-launch that we'll start day one of launch. So we'll start adding on to that thing. So yeah, things are looking great. Super ready to get it out to you all. I hope you enjoyed the picture recently because like we talked about earlier, Paul, this was where you jumped in. That picture Rocket and I leaked earlier, portrait mode and a landscape mode on like mobile and tablet. It just the home screen itself. Go back and look at the leak from 2 months ago and see how different it looks. That's all I have to say about that. Now, that being said, any quick questions or anything before I hop out of here? Because I got to go. But I'm happy to answer if anyone has something.
When is the streaming group coming out for the Crater Corpse?
It's funny. I'm gonna make a track one day for it, and I'll do it in the traditional like death metal style. But I love it, man. It's like I like little things like that. Like I don't want to elaborate. I'll just leave it there. Yeah, maybe one day I will make the Crater Corpse track.
I love it.
That's just
That's
funny.
awesome.
Hey, I know Cody, you're gonna go, but I'm gonna say goodbye because I gotta go even faster. Thank you guys. Sorry I was late, and I'll talk to you later. I gotta go. See you later, guys.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Cody. Really
Thanks,
appreciate you
Paul.
being
Thanks,
here. I
Cody.
was gonna ask for an update, possibly on EGC staking or Lucro Games, but if you want, we can hang out until next week and get an update on that.
Yeah, anytime. We did have there was a big staking meeting this week. Matter of fact, I actually wasn't at the staking meeting, which I think was the first one I was not able to make it to. And the beautiful thing about this one was it was a demo. So they demoed a lot of aspects of the staking to Sam and Paul. Rocket and myself already seen the majority of that demo work, so pretty cool. They were also finalizing a couple of functional things that they want to make sure are integrated and just kind of cleaned up before staking is finished. But yeah, that is also right there last sprint. So it's looking really good. Lucro Gaming obviously is kind of, how was it kind of? It's not ahead of obviously the marketplace or staking. Atlas Wallet's ahead of that. I think that Atlas Wallet's ahead of it. But Lucro Gaming is, it's on deck. And the contracts are signed. They have started the work. We haven't started. They're working on their foundational builds that will set us up for our first sprint. And all that means is the first sprint will be basically a 2-week process. Okay, this is what you're putting together. We're going to have a meeting 2 times during those 2 weeks to see where you're at with that. And then we test those elements. So that's on deck, and that's up next.
And the UGC staking still needs auditing, right?
Yeah, exactly. It does. So yeah, on both sides. So yeah. But that being said, I got to jet, everybody. Thank you so much, Steve. Congratulations to your 50th space again. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Steve. You are the absolute best. You are a legend, everybody. Give Steve a hand.
Thank you, Cody. I appreciate you being here, and have yourself a great rest of your weekend.
Yeah, everybody, take care. I love you all. Have a great night.
Have a good night.
Right on. We can go ahead and continue on. I mean, I was just going to cover some basics after that. We already know about the 215 billion EGC burned. I said 215.5 actually. I was going to ask you guys, because CoinGecko is being kind of naughty by not listing EGC or Lucro volume, the price or price action, I've been using Deck Screener, and that's actually a nice little tool. I like it a lot. So if you guys using anything else, CMC, I mean, as you know, CMC is CMC. But I really actually liked CoinGecko until they started kind of messing around. And I don't really know why that is. Really
I'm sorry, what has been happening with CoinGecko?
Doesn't show the the volume for Lucro or EGC. It doesn't show the chart. Doesn't show the it doesn't show the accurate price, and it also doesn't show the movement over a period of, let's say, 7 days, 30 days, 14, all that stuff. It's just all blank.
Oh.
Yeah. But CWP said we're not the only ones. There's other projects, crypto projects that they're having issues with. Not all of them, just a handful, it seems like. Yeah, I'm not too sure what's going on there. So yeah, you guys been following Lucro at all? I don't really have any accurate percentages because that was my go-to tool for finding out what's going on with Lucro. But I know it's been up around 190% at one point. I think we're at 4078 right now. Looks like somebody just sold off. We're going through this kind of resistance here. It seems like I wish Dan was here because he's a chart guy and he would be able to say, hey, there's a resistance here, or whatever. But we get up close to 409, and then we get a sell. So I think that's kind of one of those things we're going to be dealing with until we have a utility launch, and then we punch through that. What do you guys think? That's just my guess. That's just my prediction. So what else? We got an update on Atlas Wallet. I got a couple questions actually. Before I do that, actually, scams. Somebody had reached out to me saying that they were getting DMs in um, on Twitter or X, whatever, and they were asking them to send them money for investment. That was really weird. You know what I mean? Like they were saying like, "Hey, I'm not a scammer," and all this. That and I'm basically like a good guy and all that stuff. And just be careful, guys. Just don't get involved. Don't engage. Um, all of these things usually end up pretty bad. So don't really mess around with that too much. Getting DMs that you didn't ask for, it just be suspicious naturally. So there's a lot of scams going on with, like we talk about, the butchered pig scams. It's really, really nasty.
I mean, I don't know how it is for you, Steve, or for most people here, but I speak personally on Twitter every single day, without exception. I have about at least 10 scam messages, either from romance scams or financial scams, crypto.
Yeah, and I've heard that dusting attacks have gone up a lot, and fake NFTs, like scam NFTs are coming to people's wallets, and they're all, they're going on Discord saying, "Hey, I just got this. What do I do with it?" The key thing is nothing. If you're really really concerned, keep your EGC or your Bitcoin or whatever it is you value the most. Keep that in a separate wallet and only buy with that. Don't commingle your cryptos. If you wanna risk it and chase a project, do it from a separate wallet. And that's the nice thing about Alice. If you don't have to worry about that, you can do it from a separate wallet altogether. But yeah, just don't, even NFTs, don't engage with them. Just there's a feature in Trust Wallet, you can hide them. Don't really do anything with them at all. With dusting, just toggle that particular token off. I think there's a bug right now going on with Trust Wallet where you do toggle it off, but then it turns it back on again. So it's just kind of one of those things. There's been an update on Trust Wallets, and actually there's some bugs on that. So just be careful. There's nothing you can do about dusting. Absolutely nothing. Just don't try and sell it or anything like that. The same thing with NFTs. Don't go to the website that it links you to. I saw one that was rather creative, saying that my wallet was at risk, 80% risk. And I was looking at this on NFT, and it basically encourages you to go to that website and like it's some sort of antivirus or something like that. Just don't engage with it. Don't get caught. And
yeah, the situation with dusting and it is a problem, and you're right. There is really no way to fix that, at least not as yet. With the current technology and blockchain, I guess. And same exactly with NFTs. Any NFT that gets sent to you, because you don't have to request it, it can just send to any wallet and it accepts it. Just don't interact with those things. You don't know it, leave it. Just leave it.
I wish if anybody can invent a crypto DeFi wallet that can have the ability to toggle on and off, revoke transactions, they would basically own the market, because you can just, let's say you're going to buy your token, you toggle it on. Hey, I'm going to buy my token, and then it loads on your wallet. You got it now. Toggle it off. No transactions can take place. Is that possible?
Precisely. That's what needs to happen. I don't know if that's possible, but that's exactly what needs to happen.
If somebody can invent that, like, you got a license to print money. So yeah,
I'm pretty sure the reason that doesn't exist is because that is the current limitation of how the system works. So in other words, to deny a transaction on your end, I mean, think about what that means. That means you are blocking a transaction from happening on the blockchain from your end. So it really doesn't even make that much sense when you think about it that way. I don't know what sort of workaround needs to happen for that to be a reality, but it does need to be a reality because it's a problem.
Yeah, and we talked about another scam too with revoking approvals in BSC scan. We cover that a couple times in these spaces where you go in, and there's one of the scams that's there is where, let's say you're interacting with a token that doesn't necessarily have a secure contract. Maybe it's not necessarily the best made contract. There's got holes in it, and people can use those potentials for exploits. So by revoking revoking the basically token approvals, you can protect yourself a little bit there. I know some people have got burned that way, where they said, "Hey, I haven't even bought anything," and for like weeks, and all of a sudden I get, and they haven't even had any transactions, and it's probably through token approvals. You can do that through BSC scan, and then there's a section, I think it's in the more on the right, and then you go to a beta version It's in beta testing, and that is token approvals. And it costs a couple bucks. There is a scam related to that, so just be careful. Where you go to revoke a token, and it costs like 13 or 20 bucks or 30 bucks or something like that, and then it doesn't revoke, and then the price goes up, and you keep trying to revoke it. It's a gas token scam, so it can't necessarily hurt you, but you're just going to be out a lot of money. So if
it costs that much?
Well, they get you at first on the small amount, thinking that you're doing it right, and then the price goes up each time. And because they got you, like, hey, it didn't work. Well, let me try it again. And if you're not paying attention, you see 20 bucks or 30 bucks, and then you're basically buying somebody's gas tokens for them. Pretty sneaky. Creative, sneaky, and not very ethical, of course. But just be careful of that. We can just open it up.
I want to tell everybody that I just went on CoinGecko, and I found 11 other coins that are in the same situation as Lucro and EverGrow. And one bizarre one, I was going to remember the name and haven't, but it has a straight line through the middle of the graph with a price on that straight line.
That's bizarre.
Very.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to keep tweeting it out, and I think you could submit a ticket through. Did you do that, CWP? Did you submit something through CoinGecko just to bug them?
No, I haven't done so, but I intend to. I
Yeah,
saw that post. I saw that post by, was it Cody that did that, or Paul? Anyway, I saw the post right before the space started.
Yeah, I'm doing a daily post there where day number 2, day number 3, day number 4, CoinGecko is basically messing, right? So, yeah.
They don't seem to embarrass.
No, they don't. I don't think they really care, honestly, but, which is too bad because, when you stop using their services, they know that's advertising fees, they can, all that stuff, right? Yeah, I'm looking at Lucro right now. It's the price is completely wrong. 24-hour trading volume, nothing. Volume, a chart, nothing. And then the 1 hour, 24 hour, 7 day, 14, 30 day, all that stuff. It's just blank. There's nothing in there.
Yeah, if that was happening, I don't know, with Bitcoin or Ethereum, I wonder how fast that would be fixed. But yeah, what are you going to do?
Believe it. Yeah, you have to get it fixed then. Yeah, guys, I could open up to just general discussion if you like. I've got maybe another 15 minutes before I get a bolt. But what's on your mind? If you have any questions about, let's see, Bard. Sorry, I didn't see your request here. Give me 1 second. The Bard. How you doing? I'm doing very, very well. How's things on your end?
Good. I went down to my hometown to spend some vacation. I'm deep in the woods right now. Not sure how my reception is right now.
Yeah, I hear you just fine.
So I missed the majority of the beginning of your show, so I'll have to go back and listen to it later. I'm not going to throw a bunch of questions at you. I'll just listen to it later. Just wanted to know, are you curious about any updates on the game?
I'm very, very curious. I was going to ask you.
So we have a name. I announced it inside the LunaSky Crator Corpse. I'm sorry, it's what do we call it? Is it called
Crator
Crator Corpse? Yeah. So it's Nexus Frontiers is the name of the website. Awesome. I went ahead and got it secured. So put a placeholder up there. It's nothing pretty, but just something to tag the site. But I should be ready to roll out a couple weeks after LunaSky's release of the full release. And the initial users of the website will be, it's a web app, not a website, but a web app that's mobile and computer friendly. So the initial users will be the ones that won the championship in the Valentine's Day competition that I had. I already have those people identified, so they'll have the first accounts and access to the site. And we'll get them going onto the game framework, and they can start building their worlds. And pretty excited to get this rolled out. It'll probably be 2 weeks after that I'll open it up to everybody. You will not be required to have a wallet connection to the website. You can roam free as a regular user with a regular account if you choose to. That'll be friendly for Web 2 usage. But if you want to connect to the wallet connect portion, it's just a matter of proving that you are the owner of the wallet. I do not have access to acquire or do any transactions or anything like that. You're just accepting the fact that you are the owner of the wallet, and I have to prove it because I'm doing a lookup of NFTs that you will have within your wallet that you have purchased from creators that have created games within this framework.
That's an interesting way to authenticate their identity.
There's also locking mechanisms between various areas of the game. So if creators choose to use NFTs to block access to various areas, they have the ability to use that framework to lock out those areas for only owners of specific NFTs. Creators can create content based off of both created NFTs or NFTs that they have purchased from others. So it's a creator versus owner type of scenario. It's a pretty wide open world, and I'm excited to see what the creators do out of it.
Sounds very cool. So I can't wait to see. So you're thinking you're going to open it up for the winners of the competition in the next few weeks, you think?
Whenever LunaSky full release comes out, I have to test a few things to see how it works with LunaSky proper, because that's where the NFT marketplace is for any kind of NFTs that you're using within the game framework. LunaSky is the only place that it's going to work, and only Lucro based NFTs. So I'm not going to be opening the world up to Solana or anything else. It's just Lucro only, because I'm a Lucro investor and I want to gain the advantage of Lucro only. So it's going to be Lucro only and NFTs associated with LunaSky. I'm not going to run a marketplace. I'm not interested in doing that kind of business. So this is just a framework to give utility to NFTs.
That's so cool.
That is awesome. Very well done. Thank you. I appreciate it very much. I can't wait to see what it looks like.
No problem.
Another utility for Lucro. I'm curious. When you will I get to see my character when you open it up?
Yeah, you're a shopkeeper.
Nice. I appreciate it, man.
Oh, another cool thing. So creators, when they create their games, they'll have the ability to. It's kind of like the Matrix, where the agents can switch from person to person to person, and this will be invisible to the game players. Creators can run the role of kind of a god mode, where they can become one of the non-player characters, none the wiser to the other players in the game. So when we get the framework for quests, which is not on launch, but there will be some quest play in place, without getting to any details on that. There's another layer of questing that gets added to it, but basically out of the gate, the creators will be able to become players that are non-playable.
That sounds really, really cool. I cannot wait to see it. Any questions for Bard? That sounds really, really cool. I cannot wait to see what else.
I don't have any questions in particular, but that sounds like a great project. That sounds really nice. Can't wait to see that.
Do you think there would be an option, Bard, for kind of like with LunaSky, where you can go VR with your game, have that ability to do that?
I've been talking to Captain EverGrow, about possibly doing that in the future. It's definitely not going to be at launch, but I do want to work with him to get this into a virtual reality type of scenario.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Nothing stopping you, really. That would be really cool.
And for the gameplay, if nobody's familiar with it, you've got 4 classes. You've got the mage, thief, bard, and warrior. And you can basically be a warrior as a bard. There's nothing keeping you from doing that. There's just certain skills that are accessible by those classes that would be outside of the normal. But you can play as any type of character. I mean, warriors will have magic, whatever, but it's your classic style of role playing game. Tabletop, there's dice involved, there's encounters, there's all kinds of goodies within the game.
And then once you beat the game once, at least once, you can unlock a hidden class, the class of Sam Kelly, and just bulldoze through the game.
Well, one of the things that I want to add in the future, it's not going to be at launch, but one of the things I want to add in the future is the ability for creators to create their own classes. I don't have that capability yet, but I want to be able to add in new classes. Now at launch, they will be able to rename those classes for their environment. So if somebody plays a space world, for example, it's not going to make sense to have a mage, a thief, a bard, or whatever up in the space. So they may want to rename those classes into something else. The mechanics will be the same, but the names of those...
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, the classes will be appropriate for that environment.
Very cool. I'm just going through the questions right now to see if any... Let's see. Kenny had asked, hey, Steve, any chance we could discuss how much EGC is doing? How much EGC is doing, just like the potential Atlas wallet direct buy button for legit crypto, as we do LunaSky support for artists, abstract potential for being military industrial complex. We kind of went into that a little bit. Yeah, I mean, we're going to probably hit up Paul again on the next space, unless something beats us to it here. I mean, we kind of did talk about, we kind of know that Atlas has the option, at least the plan is, for direct buy EGC and Lucro. That's kind of a big deal there. And let's see what else we got here. Talked about, Jack Oates had asked about, what do you call it?
I mean, it went to direct buy even before Atlas was a thing. The idea of the direct buy and why that hasn't been implemented. Mm-hmm. The entire time, the issue has been price, and exactly. The price, yeah, and the price being too high. And I've said before, and I say again, I personally, I don't see that as much as an issue as some do. I think you should pay a premium for ease of access and ease of doing things. But it is what it is. But it will be done. It will be done sooner or later, of course.
For the convenience aspect, I don't mind paying a little bit more if I can just direct buy EverGrow or Lucro rather than having to do the swap.
Me neither. I mean, everywhere that's how life works. You pay a premium for convenience. So it is what it is. Yes, I mean, they were throwing out some numbers. They're talking about from 20 to 30% on top of the price. And yes, that's expensive. But that's what you pay. Again, I've made this comparison before. If I go to the gas station to buy milk, yeah, the milk there is twice more, not 20, 30% more expensive, twice more expensive than at the grocery store. Yes, that's the convenience for being right next to my house. You know what I mean? I either pay that premium or I go to the grocery store. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
That's
and
part
if
of
it
life.
If it didn't work, people wouldn't pay it, and therefore they would have to be more competitive. But they know where your kind of pain threshold is, right? And so they're willing to.
Exactly.
It's kind of one of those things where, I know I can't remember the last time I bought BNB through one of the payment providers. I think it ended up by being like $7-8 or something like that. And when you think on $100, it's a bit of money. But it's probably. And I thought it was always just like it didn't matter how much you bought. I thought if you bought 100, it would still be $8. But no, it scales. So if you buy 1,000, you're going to pay like 80 or something like that, or 60 or whatever.
Oh yes, yeah, it's percentage. Yeah, it definitely scales.
And I think, like I said in Crator Corpse, that we should do our own payment provider. I just look for an opportunity to say that, right? But we should do our own. I wish we had the ability to do our own in the future, do our own payment provider and keep it to ourselves and keep the transaction money and to use for buyback and burn of EverGrow. Why not, right? And I mean, it would be a major undertaking, but if we have successful utilities paying for, and I think we could do it.
That would be amazing. That would be a huge asset to the whole EverGrow project. That's one of those that's definitely much easier said than done.
Yeah, that's I mean, and the competition's out there, right? And so, but here's the thing: if you're a holder, you believe in the project anyway, so you're going to use ours versus Simplex or your MoonPay or something like that, right? Just because hey, I'd rather support my own project rather than support these guys. Where they live, they're out in Estonia or something like that, or whatever country they're in.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. How about you, CWP? Would you, would you be on board with if we did our own system? I mean, I don't know how much that would cost.
1,000%.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe
yeah,
$1 million.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it would be fantastic. And again, the profits, even though it might be just like little amounts, cents, or even, 10 cents, 15 cents collectively over thousands of transactions, that could go a long way for buyback and burn of BGT. So.
But if we're going to do that, let's kick Pancake Swap's ass too.
You don't like PCS?
No, it's not it. It's just they're the big guy.
Yeah,
They're the target. So let's bring them down and put us up there on the mountaintop.
Well, the nice thing about Atlas is you don't need to use them anymore, right? So, buy directly in the wallet, swap directly in the wallet, and you completely avoid having to use PCS or another. So, I'm looking forward to the cross chain personally, but
yeah, I'm a fan of removing all dependencies. I mean, as when you have dependencies, they fail. So the more dependencies you can remove, the better.
I wanted to ask Cody before he left, but didn't get a chance to about the Atlas wallet and where it is in the stream. If it's still going to be quite a ways away, and if the staking and all that is going to come ahead of it.
he hinted a little bit. He said that it looked like, because LunaSky first, and then EGC staking, and then it looks like Lucro Games and Atlas Wallet are kind of like they could swap positions. So the last I looked for testing, I think we're on version. Correct me if I'm wrong. I want to say 16. And I looked yesterday, and we were waiting for the devs to release the next test flight app. So I think we'll probably be on 17 then. So if I could be wrong on that number, but so it's been in their hands for a few days now. So but these guys behind the scenes, like there's some people that work way harder than me on this, and we've got a running Google Doc of all the issues that come up. And then they're forwarded to the devs. There's a separate channel in Discord that's just for talking to the dev and resolving any issues, whatever like that. And it's been super helpful for speeding up things. And so again, we produce this list, and then of course we start kind of over with the next iteration. And then if there's any issues, there's bound to be even things that you didn't even think were an issue before are now an issue. You know what I mean? Just because you fix one problem, you potentially could mess up and create another problem. So. But they're usually easy to fix. So, yeah, it's I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, we got this quarter, right? So that puts us to the end of September, if I'm not mistaken. So we've got August and September. Basically a month and a half. A lot of things are going to happen, and I think we need that. We really do. I'm really happy with price action at Lucro right now, but I'm not selling anytime soon personally. I'm happy to just hodl and add to my bag whenever I can. So. But I know some people are enjoying it and they're making money off of it, and good for them, man. I'll never get mad at somebody for selling. If you feel this, you want to like sell 10, 20%, 30%, and then hodl the rest. By all means, I mean, you're just setting a new floor price, in my opinion. Because every time it goes up and then you have a correction, comes back down. Some people, who may hold large bags, they might just sell off, and then now more people buy in. It's a slower climb up. And then, again, you might have a sell and all that stuff, and it's fine. I mean, if you believe in the project, you're here for the long run, right? But I'm not saying that those people aren't. I'm just saying that, some people is like, you know what? I think I need to take some profits, and there's nothing wrong with that. Good for them.
There's nothing wrong with that. Good for them, and yeah, 100% agree with everything you said. And there's no point in blaming people for selling. That is just absolutely. Life happens. Anything can happen at any point. People might have bills to pay. They have to take money out. Who knows? It's not up for us to be blaming them or to be, it's none of our business. In the end, what matters is the project itself, the token, and its future. I think LunaSky, even the release, the first version of LunaSky to be released, there will be further updates even down the line. But even the first release of LunaSky, the full release, I think that will definitely send Lucro soaring a little bit. So we definitely have that to look forward to. And Atlas Wallet, obviously, that'll probably be even bigger. So yeah, I mean, it looks bright. So we wait and see.
And how many times have you been in a position where you're like, man, I wish I just sort of taken my 30% off the table, and there would have been a dip or something, right? And you're like kicking yourself for not taking profit. And so, like I said, good for them.
I see the dips after the people sell and take their profits, and more power to them. But that usually brings the price down, which for stingy little me with few funds gives me opportunity to add to my bag. So I'm actually thankful to those big guys that sell a crap load and the price drops, because it'll come back up.
Exactly. You look at the chart over the past 2 months, and you're just seeing the staircase, right? It goes up, and then it comes down a little bit and goes right back up. And I think it's kind of, when we see the big spikes, that's when you see the more drastic sells, right? Big spike up, you're usually looking for a big drop, and then it's the small, slow, and steady. That's what I look forward to. And then you'll have a big movement day, where something happens.
Right. And I mean, it's pretty obvious to see the interest is there, right? The interest in Lucro is there. And to be quite frank with you, it has been there since the very inception of Lucro. I mean, who remembers the pre-sales of Lucro? It was absolutely insane. They were both
it was
under,
pretty crazy.
Yeah, they were both under the two pre-sales. They were both under 15 seconds long. That is insanity. Absolute insanity. I've had coughs last longer than that. I mean,
exactly.
Right. So, and of course, you can't compare, the overwhelming amount of interest right at the beginning, obviously. But it shows that it's still there, and it's just going sideways. Now it's going a little bit up. That's true. But it's waiting for something. It's waiting for something to happen. It's waiting for something to release to really pop off.
I heard somebody in the news say that around elections, people don't necessarily like to spend a lot of money, and it's very conservative. And then about a year after an election is when people start opening up their pocketbooks. They go back to normal behavior again. Do you think that applies to crypto as well?
Huh. That's actually the first time I ever heard that.
Yeah, usually like RVs, boats, cars. People tend to be a little more conservative around election time. Because they don't know what's going to happen, right, with the next, commander-in-chief who comes in.
Because they're scared of the economy going forward.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. It makes sense. I mean,
I'm pretty sure it will be with crypto as well as stocks and bonds.
I kind of disagree. I think it's going to go with the Bitcoin halving. I'm suspecting the end of the month of August to have a drastic increase.
Is it halving, though, in 2024? April?
Yeah, it's like March or something.
So why would you suspect? Is people buying ahead of time before the halving? Is that what you mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't want to buy when it happens. You want to buy before it happens.
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
I said BTC to 50,000 before the end of 2023, so we'll see.
Yeah, 29 now. It's been flirting with 30, 31, then it comes back down. It's kind of hovering around that range. 28 to 31 or roughly right around there. So, Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, but I think 2023 has been an interesting year. I kind of thought we would be more into the recovery right now, but you know, they keep telling us we're not going towards a recession and all that stuff. We're kind of out of that, and we'll have to wait and see. But I think the more we can just do our own thing, come up with our own utilities, people will probably look for safe haven, and we're kind of, if we can pull that off, we're in good shape, right? This company is doing. They've got 3-4 utilities going. You can see it. You can see the burns. You can see we're pretty transparent on what we have as far as reserves go. I think that's going to go a long way for trust, and then people will be like, you know what, I trust this project. Not many projects out there I trust. I mean, I kind of safe harbor, go to this place, and that's kind of, I hope that's the way it's going to go.
I think that you're right, and to be frank, I think both end of 2022 and all of 2023, right? If it wasn't for Celsius collapsing, Three Arrows Capital, the banks that went under, and most of all, the FTX collapse. If it wasn't for these things, I have no doubt in my mind that crypto would have recovered significantly by now. I would have no doubt that BTC would have soared past the 50,000 by now. But that is just simply too much all at once and close proximity to not affect, credibility, and to not cause fear and to not cause concerns. It's too much. It really is. So we're in the recovery period, past that crap. So it is what it is.
Yeah, a lot of money got taken out of the market from those collapses. And so, I think you've given people pause. They're not as willing to spend their money as much. I don't, where did that money go? Is it still being kind of traded around? I don't know.
Before the collapse, I really did, along with a lot of other people smarter than me, expect Bitcoin to hit $100,000 by the end of the year. It's not going to happen now. It might go as high as 80. Michael Saylor had a very interesting little discussion the other day that I listened to his viewpoint on Bitcoin, and he laid out numbers based upon a future adoption and predicted Bitcoin to hit in the 100 billion, that's with a B like baby, dollars, in a few years. And he gave a very good explanation of that based upon the adoption rates of how few people own Bitcoin, and as it becomes a coin of the realm or realms, how many more people will be trying to get it, and there's just not enough to go around. As an aside to that, on Twitter, somebody suggested that Michael Saylor marry Bitcoin. I got a kick out of that.
Yeah, I mean, Kathy Wood, she's pretty astute. I think she's predicting $1 million Bitcoin. I was like, kind of mind blowing if she's right. It's kind of mind blowing. I don't know if you get a chance to listen to any of her videos, but she's pretty smart. She got a lot of money invested in AI. She has a bunch of money in Tesla. Did very, very well. And I think a couple other investments. She's a pretty astute investor, that's for sure.
Smart woman, very smart person.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, I'm running out of time here, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for the day. I want to thank you so much for being here today. I mean, it's at space number 50. Crazy. I was hoping LunaSky was going to come out today. I really was, but I kind of also knew in the back of my mind it's too early. So, but at least we know. Kind of, Cody gave us a pretty good update of where we're at. He's pretty optimistic. You can hear it in his voice. So, yeah, guys, thank you for being here today and for your support as always. So, thank you. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you so much for all you do for us, Steve.
Appreciate your help, CWP, as well, for the news articles and all that stuff. Appreciate it. Moon, Bard, thank you so much, guys. Give a quick shout out to Joel M, Miguel Crypto, and let's see, ADL EverGrow. Who else we got here? Andy. Let's see here. Sorry about that. Andy Vanning with Vanguard Heating. Good to see you here. Gracians and Will. Good to see you. Exponential EverGrow. And Peekaboo Jesus. Good to see you too. Michael Garber. Thank you for being in. Trek Journey. Sorry. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and have a great day, guys. See you on the next one.